local government to start with. That is for the first phase, so that we can start from somewhere. Though I have not submitted that one, that is by the way. So that is what we are trying to do, and that is the reason why when a private laboratory.
I wonder, because not all the hospitals will be able to carry what you are actually doing. I will suggest that for the program to actually move to be able to go through, look for those hospitals, I think the central hospital first. Like Okui, Ash, Agbo, Ugele, Wari, Saple, Ole. I think when you write for those ones will be able to fly before you now say local government. Because I believe like there's a hospital in my village, my mother's village, Ewood. I'm not sure they can be able to do that for me. So instead of us to be sitting down that the money is too much, let us begin. So that's my humble suggestion. Thank you.
Another question or conclusion. Actually, my presentation was on the fact that we are lagging behind in information technology. And we have passed what I'm even trying to tell us now, because the world is fast moving. For my facility, I don't think we have an issue with lights. We will have a Wi-Fi. And whatever readiness there is, we are in place to commence fully. They will do some menial part, like the Chromatic explained. You just start from somewhere. It's gone past the days when we do paperwork. Things have to be properly documented and keyed into a system. And we must organize our setting. That gives us the integrity and the prestige as professionals. Now, if you go to some stores, let me be more explicit. If you go to a pharmacy store owned by a pharmacist, you see the process of work. You must have a system. The system must tell you the stock in, stock out, the drugs, the other components are in the system. So we can start from somewhere and we grow from that place. I don't think there's any lab that don't have 24 hours light supply. If you don't, how do you store your reagents or they deteriorate? I will use them that way, because I've been to several labs. My good friend Eastern Lab, it runs gen from morning till night, preserves the materials, and most of all these things are low energy consuming. We can actually key them into our solar panel, because see, the in thing is solar. All these 33 grade or line or whatever, they are not working anywhere. If you want to depend on Nigerian line, you cannot do business. Go and ask Dangote and Otedola and other, but even the banking system, you cannot do your business. So let's try and move to the next level as laboratory scientists. It will help us and improve service delivery and improve patient outcome and our integrity and our values. Thank you so much.
Mr. Henry, thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate it a lot. We hope that we'll work in that direction to make our practice look more presentable, because most times you can be so surprised that you have stock. The stock you have, maybe a particular reagent, you only realize that it has expired when you have a request for it. If we can work and start like the pharmacies, like Dr. Henry mentioned, it will work for us. Because if you come, you want to buy Panadol, you want to buy any particular drug, they will not go and check counter for availability. They just type the name of the drug on the system. The amount of that drug that is left will be displayed on the system. And this one that you come, malaria is 2,000, here is 500 there, and this is it. As you come, do you know, I realized along the line, because where my facility is, there is a pharmacy. They build, there is a system they call ROS. I don't know if that's an acronym adopted by that particular pharmacy. If you come, you want to buy Augmentin. I want to buy Augmentin. Augmentin is 10,000 naira for 500 milligrams. 10,000 naira. If you come and you have a doctor's prescription for Augmentin, that same Augmentin that they type in the system, they can say Augmentin ROS2. The price will come as maybe 11,000. If you come and they want to treat you with the Augmentin, you come, you didn't request for Augmentin, but your complaint requires that they treat you with Augmentin. They put that same Augmentin among the list of drugs, so it can come as RS4. Augmentin can come out as 18,000 naira. You will just see that everything will come out right and it has been pre-arranged. That is how it is. If we grow to that extent, I think practice will be very easy for us. We want to move on to the next presentation by Dr. Matthew Adu. He's going to speak on cybersecurity in health industry. Cybersecurity in health industry. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning, scientists. I'll be talking on cybersecurity in the health industry. I think my job has been made easy by all the speakers, right from the keynote address to now. And we all have been saying revolution in what? Healthcare what? Delivery. And when you are revolutionizing, you talk of IT, isn't it? And the IT, there are so many issues that are associated with the IT. And so, we are going to look how we can be able to secure our IT space in order not to run into issues. So my presentation, well, before that, I bring greetings from one of the fastest growing university in the sub-Sahara Africa, University of Delta, Alba. We lecture there, and you can attest to it because we were established in 2021, precisely February. But if you visit that place now, it will actually amaze you because my amiable VC, then Professor Stella then Professor Stella Shemeka is a man, not a woman. She's doing a human job there. So, having said that, my presentation will take this format, this outline. So first of all, let's look at what is cyber security, because we are looking at two keywords: cyber security and what the health industry. Cyber security is the practices, the technologies, as well as the processes designed to protect digital information, the computer system, the networks, from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or destruction. When we generate our data, we need to protect our data from unauthorized access. Who is an authorized access? Somebody that is not supposed to have access to your data. So we need to make sure that such people do not have access to our data. They can't use our data they cannot be disclosed to, and also they cannot also modify the data. So what are the key components of cybersecurity? We have basically three basic components of cybersecurity. That is one, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means protecting sensitive information from unauthorized access. You don't put your information on the bench for them to see. Then when you talk of integrity, this is ensuring the accuracy and the completeness of the data wherever they are needed. Availability, this is to ensure that data and the systems are accessible and usable when you require them. Because when you don't do cyber security, your data may be be modified, and they may not be available as when you need them. The integrity of your data will not be there, and also confidentiality will be eroded. What are the types of cybersecurity threats? We have various forms of cybersecurity threats. We have the malware. These are the software designed to harm or exploit the system. We have the phishing. These are means by which they attempt to trick individuals to revealing sensitive information. For instance, you have a lab, you did a test, somebody that is not supposed to get that information will meet you. Please, I need this information. I will tip you. That is what we mean there. Then we have the ransomware. These are malware that demands payment in exchange for restoring access to data. We have the DDoS attack. DDoS means distributed denial of service, and attacks where multiple systems flood a targeted system, such as a website or network. What is healthcare industry? We may define healthcare industry as if those of us who work in the hospitals. No, healthcare industry is more than that. The healthcare industry is a place where medical services and the products are being provided to individuals or the communities. It may be a form of hospital setting or a manufacturing outfit, or even a distribution outlet. As far as it concerns medical health services and healthcare industry, just like if you look at the park, now we have a distributor, so it's also involved in healthcare industry. There are various forms of healthcare industry in Nigeria. These are one, hospital and healthcare facilities. These are centers that provide inpatient and outpatient care to individuals and to the community. We have medical professionals. We are the medical professional in the healthcare industry. We have pharmaceutical industries. They also healthcare industry. We have those who manufacture medical devices. They are also healthcare industry. We have the health insurance. These are the sector that provide financial coverage for healthcare services incurred by an enrollee. An example is the data center contributory health commission, DSCAC, and the National Health Insurance Authority. These are examples of health insurance. We also have the Agile, we have the Avon, depending on anyone you can remember. So what is cybersecurity and health industry? How do they link? What is the nexus? What is the link between cyber security? Why must we do cyber security in healthcare industry? It is a documented evidence that data are the mainstream of the world healthcare industry. These data are referred to as the big word, big data, and must be protected from attack or access by unauthorized individuals. Some of the key attributes of a healthcare professionals, as we know in our training, they also align with the key attributes of the cyber security, which are what the confidentiality and what integrity, as well as availability. As healthcare professionals, we must protect our data from unauthorized access and must exhibit integrity in all we do at all times, whether someone is watching us or not. What are the key concerns of the cybersecurity? These are one, the protected health information. You must be able to protect healthcare information. That is, healthcare organization hand over medical records. What are the measures you take in cyber security? One of the measures is that the protection of our data from cyber security attack is very important. Owing to the vital nature of the data we will produce in the lab, both for the patient, the industry, and the government as well. This process involves a comprehensive approach that includes the technical, administrative, physical, and what best practices. What do we do? In the technical measures, include encryptions, the fireworks, intrusion detection and prevention system, antivirus software, secure data storage. How do we do them? The first one is what the encryption, which is when a document is protected with a password. When we generate our data, we must be able to save them with what? A password, so that nobody have access to that document. Like I do learn from my boss, which I worked under for the past 10 years before I left there, Dr. Isibo. Before Isibo will send you any document, Isibo will make sure that you cannot even print the document. He will make sure that he put a system, he put it on a system that unauthorized access. Yours is just you read alone, you cannot edit it, you cannot even print it. So those are ways that we can be able to protect our document. Then the firewalls. This is when the network security system controls the incoming and outward traffic of documents. I think those of us who are very, very familiar with the system, when we put an antivirus in our computers, at times there are certain things we want to even look at. The system will tell you that it is not safe because the system will block it. So antivirus software, we all know that. We put it in our phones, put it in our system. These are ways to protect our data. Intrusion detection and prevention system. These are monitoring systems for potential security breaches, so that before the thing will occur, it has already detected it, so it cannot occur any longer. Because they said that prevention is better than cure. So secure data storage devices. This is where we secure the data and the device, such as computers, where our data are stored. Then, what are the administrative measures? One, you put access into control. Not everybody can have access to where you store your data. It is not everybody go in there, goes out there. No, you must put access control, and the access will be given to only those who are authorized to do something with the data. Then authentication and authorization. This is by verifying users' identity and authorization given according to rules assigned. The data will be there. Yes, you have the access, but it is not everything in the data you can be able to access. Like in those days when we were doing HIV work, when your role is only what you can be able to access. You can't access everything. So that is authentication authorization. The incident response the planning. This is having plans in place to respond quickly to incidents and cybersecurity threat. You must not wait until everything has been destroyed before you take action. You must plan ahead. He said, if you fail to plan, you plan to what? To fail. The regular security audit and risk assessment. This is to carry out the periodic checks to identify and mitigate potential cybersecurity threats, then employee training and awareness. And your staff must be aware and they must be trained on the needs of cyber security in order for them to work efficiently and protect your data efficiently and work effectively. Then physical measures. Physical measures involve securing the facilities to prevent attack, access control and surveillance of the healthcare data to prevent attack. However, there are best practices employed in preventing cybersecurity threat to our data. These include limiting data sharing. You don't just share your data anyhow, because if you share them anyhow, there's reason for them to be attacked. Using secure communication channels, as well as conducting regular security updates on the system. What are the benefits of cybersecurity in the healthcare industry? Due to the importance of health data, it needs to be protected. Protecting patient data is vital at all times, ensuring the confidentiality of the data, integrity of your data, and availability of this data when needed. Then maintaining trust. You must maintain the trust within the patient, to the community, and everybody. When data are protected, it builds the trust with the patient and the stakeholder by prioritizing cyber security. Safety of your patient. When data are protected, it protects the patient from potential harm that is caused by cyber attack. Then the compliance. Like when Dr. Ekweti was saying something just that MLSA has, if you go to their website, this lab information management system is one of the key requirement for registration of your lab. So this is meeting with regulatory requirement during accreditation and avoiding fines and reputational damage. Like Dr. Okwamedo said yesterday that if you didn't see it where you write a result from the note that the note even shift, you are your own, that they will take you to court, and those are what the fines and reputational damage. Because one missed result will damage your image. In conclusion, the medical laboratory is the hub of the data in our healthcare industry today. because this is where the evidence of the treatments are originated. This has made it imperative to secure this data from intruders, either they parade themselves as professionals or patient relatives. As a rule, in the medical lab science, the practice of medical lab science, no disclosure of result to unauthorized individuals unless with the consent of the owner. Healthcare data are vital data that must be protected at all times from unauthorized persons, and so we must do all we can to protect them, to ensure the patient safety, ensure the compliance, as well as maintain the trust from individual community and the public at large. Well, my appreciation goes to first to Almighty God for the gift of life and its enablement to present this paper. Secondly, I want to appreciate the ANSI Delta State branch under the leadership of Dr. Nathaniel Ewere-Bini and his executive duty given to me. I also appreciate the chairman scientific committee, Dr. Sylvia Abu, for the doggedness for this project, even when I declined this role and the topic. Thank you. You have already strengthened my knowledge in this area. My family are not left out of this appreciation. You are wonderful. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adu, for that beautiful, wonderful presentation, cyber security. Anytime we hear this word, cyber, what did they come our mind? All those Robocop, all those machines. Now what they remember with that. You see one machine working and they say the world is going to end in the year 2059. The movie will depict what's happening in 2059. But we are happy to see that this can be implemented in medical laboratory practice. We want to entertain a couple of questions or contributions from members of the audience. So if you have any question or any contribution, raise up your hand, we'll bring the mic to you. Be like the enter well. The enter well.
The issue is this. You know, we are teachers. It's a two-way thing. Either they don't understand or they understood, isn't it? So which one are we? Do we understand? Okay.
Like this, it makes sense. No questions, no comments. It's beautiful. Me, I don't get to. Wow, we appreciate you. Please put your hands together for him. Next in line, we want to welcome one of our colleagues, MLS Destiny. MLS Destiny is going to speak on AI-powered diagnostics in medical laboratory practice. AI-powered diagnostics in medical laboratory practice. Please, let's give him our attention. Put your hands together for him, please.
The members of the high table, distinguished senior colleagues, and further invited guests present. My name is Imade Osaze Destiny. I'm a medical laboratory scientist like most of us here. And unlike most of us here, I am also a software developer that works with the company Wevo. I also work in Federal Medical Center. Now, what Wevo do essentially is to provide technological solutions to varying problems, which also include diagnostics, which is one of our key focuses. So today I'll be talking about AI-powered diagnostics in Nigerian medical laboratories. Essentially, when Professor Ojefere presented on antimicrobial resistance and then stewardship, seeing her qualifications and certifications, it was mind-blowing and it's inspirational. And it's something I feel like a lot of us need to key into, younger ones like me. We need to key into that to understand that a lot of work has been put behind the scenes and it's something that we need to emulate in our practice and then in our careers as well. So like I said earlier, I'll be talking So essentially, like I said, the topic is AI-powered diagnostics in Nigerian medical laboratories. So I'll be talking on this topic under the following outlines, which would range from the definition of terms to the introduction, the history, types and the requirements of AI used in diagnostics, how AI models are trained for diagnostics, the applications, benefits and challenges, ethical regulations, future direction, the conclusion, references, vote of thanks. For the objectives of this presentation, by the end we should be able to understand how AI or artificial intelligence is revolutionizing laboratory diagnostics by automating complex analysis and complex processes. Also, we need to explore, we'll be able to explore some of the applications in our day-to-day laboratory processes, the challenges as well as ethics. During the course of the conference and throughout the week, I was privileged to see some of the PowerPoint presentations made by speakers before me, and I could see that we even had a barrister come up to tell us about the ethical concerns as well as the regulatory concerns using artificial intelligence in our diagnostic processes, and it was a good one. However, we still need to touch it a bit when we are talking about AI in diagnostics proper. Then the future directions, because we need to know where we are going. It's like a vehicle, you need to have a destination in mind so you know how to take your journey step by step and then bit by bit. So for the definition of terms, a couple of terms that some of us will be familiar with, some of us will not be familiar with, but for the purpose of the seminar, to be able to make sure everybody is carried along, we need to define a couple of terms. So for artificial intelligence, I feel everybody by this time should be familiar with what it is or what it should be. It's a simulation of human intelligence processes by a machine, especially computer systems. So essentially, machines trying or machines being built to think like me, to think like you. And then we'll talk about diagnostics. I don't need to define what diagnostics are because I know that everybody here is, most of us are medical laboratory scientists. Methods and techniques, there are methods and techniques used to identify diseases or conditions from laboratory tests. Machine learning, a subset of artificial intelligence, which involves algorithms that improve automatically through experience. An algorithm is a set of rules or steps used by computers to perform certain tasks. Medical laboratory, I do not believe I need to define this, and then deep learning, a machine learning techniques using multi-layered neural networks to model complex patterns, and in our case, complex diagnostic patterns. Now we'll move on to the introduction to artificial intelligence in diagnostics. Now, contrary to what most of us would think, AI did not just come into being, it did not just come into diagnostics, it did not just come into existence in the 2020s, the 2021s, and then the 2022s. AI has been in existence as far back as the 1950s, the 1960s, and the 1970s. If you've ever used a calculator, you've used AI. If you use the phone, you use AI, and then several of our other devices. So essentially, AI involves computer systems performing tasks which require human intelligence, such as interpretation and then decision making. What is the role of AI in medical labs? For us, we know that there are two major key factors that when we do our analysis, when we carry out our diagnostic processes, we try as much as possible to reduce and then improve turnaround times, as well as reduce errors in our diagnostic processes. Now, this is also the role that AI helps us to accomplish. When we're talking about AI in diagnostics, we're talking about improved speed, we're talking about improved accuracy. And then we're also talking about reduced burden on laboratory staff, laboratory personnel, medical laboratory scientists. The benefits, it supports faster processes and helps to reduce human errors in laboratory settings. Now, we'll talk about the history. Like I said earlier, AI did not just come into being. AI has been in existence since the 1950s, the 1960s. Specifically, the conference that pioneered the development of AI in diagnostics was held in Dartmouth College in the USA, where the father of AI, his name is McCarthy, John McCarthy, was able to say, why do we not just try? We have computer systems already. Why do we not try to make these complex calculations, to make these complex additions and subtractions we do? Why do we not try to make the machines do them for us. And then that meeting at that conference led to what we know as artificial intelligence today. In the 1990s, machine learning adoption. Data-driven models learned from historical lab data to detect complex patterns and enhance predictive diagnosis. Going forward in the seminar, we would look at what machine learning is, because for us as medical laboratory scientists, what actually concerns us when we talk about AI in diagnostics is the machine learning. We use a lot of equipment, and those equipment run on the principle of machine learning. Now we'll move to the 2000s and the 2010s, advanced algorithm, neural networks and ensembles, automated multi-step diagnostics, reducing errors and then speeding results. And then in the recent years, we have deep learning coming into place. Now, for me, I like to see deep learning as the icing on the cake, because in as much as we've had machine learning come into place, deep learning is actually what we use today. It's the reason why you can be able to clean certain things into your phone or the ChatGPT you have, and then it can give recommendations. It can tell you what is not, what it is, what is not, different varying functions actually. But we'll see what deep learning is further in the presentation. Now we'll talk about the types that we use, the types of AI that we use in diagnostics. First is the rule-based systems. Now when we talk about rule-based systems, we're talking of an if and then type of system essentially. You know, when we were younger, my mom likes to, women are always sending me a message anyways. She likes to send us on errand. Maybe she calls me, Osaze, take this money, go to Mama Emeka shop to buy tasty tomatoes. I want to make jollof rice. If she doesn't have, go to Mama Chididu's shop to buy the tomatoes. If Mama Chididu does not have the tin tomatoes, come back home. So she has defined the route I should take. She has defined what I should do if Mama Emeka does not have, if Mama Chididu does not have. It will be unreal and it will be unheard of if me, that is 5 years old, goes to Mama Emeka shop. It's like our calculators. If you try to impute the formula or try to do some a type of arithmetic that has not been programmed in that calculator, it will display what? Syntax error. It will display any type of error that it has. So essentially your rule-based systems use predefined protocols to trigger alerts and guide diagnostic decisions. We've had several analyzers that work and operate on this rule-based system. One of them is our Selectra, essentially for chemical pathology analysis. Then we have the machine learning, which analyzes large data sets to identify diagnostic patterns and improve over time. Now we are talking about analysis of large data sets. We're talking about data sets to identify diagnostic patterns. And this is majorly what the recent years of hematology analyzer really operates on. Most of us feel like before you start to use artificial intelligence, you need to open ChatGPT. No, it has been operated ever since the first, second, third, fourth generation analyzers have been in use. We've always been using AI. We've literally always been using AI. So when we're talking about machine learning, we're talking about feeding the machine, feeding that AI model the data that it needs to do what it is supposed to do. Then deep learning. Deep learning leverages neural networks for detailed image recognition, such as cancer detection in pathology. When we talk about neural networks, we all know about neurons. Neurons essentially transmit information from your central nervous system to your peripheral nervous system. Basically, what they just do is they try to filter information. It's like a human being. When I walk into this place, the first thing that you notice is you try to look at the structure, then you turn to check for familiar faces. So that's essentially what these neural networks try to do. They learn, and then they keep evolving, and then they keep learning. They're able to detect and predict cancer cases or different types of cancers in pathology, in hematology, and so on and so forth. Now we'll talk about some examples using the rule-based systems in hematology analyzer to basically drive home what I have been saying about these AI models. How are they used? The early basic analyzers use rule-based logic to classify cells. For example, if the cell size is equals to X and the light scatter from the flow cytometry is Y, then classify and label as a lymphocyte. Now, like I used the example of going to Mama Emeka shop and going to Mama Chididu shop, you can see that there is no other information, there is no other rule that is being generated for that analyzer. So essentially, if it comes to a case where it's having a cell that does not have the program size, it starts to give results that are not proper, it starts to give wrong results, and it starts to reduce the quality of the results that are being generated or the quality of the information that that analyzer is generating. And then the applications, differentiating white blood cells by size and shape, flagging abnormal counts, WBC count too high, running quality control check, e.g. if sample flags, then rerun. So essentially it's just if, and then using predefined rules to analyze our samples. The limitations, the struggle with edge cases, immature or abnormal cells. So when you're having cases of acute lymphocytic leukemias, cases of acute myeloid leukemia, your rule-based system analyzers, the early analyzers cannot detect that for you. In fact, they might just flag everything and then you start thinking that you have a problem with your machine. They cannot adapt to new diseases or variation of these diseases. Now we'll talk about machine learning in hematology analyzers. I like to use hematology most of the time because it's home for me and it's what I relate most to. So it's not like it's just in hematology that we use these type of AI models. So for the machine learning, they are trained on large data sets of labeled blood smear images or cell data to recognize patterns in new samples. They learn from features like the size, shape, granularity, and then staining intensity. The applications improve cell classification, accuracy, neutrophils, eosinophils, monocytes, reducing false negatives in flags like anemia or infection, identifying subtle patterns in blood that correlate with certain conditions, and then the benefits better performance than fixed rules and adaptable to various variations across populations. Now we'll talk about deep learning, how it is used. Convolutional neural networks analyze blood smear images at pixel level and interpret cells like a trained medical laboratory scientist. So recently, in the 2021-2022 period, the Mindray MC50 and the Mindray MC80 came into being, and they use this type of AI model, which is called the deep learning. Now, what makes the MC80 so special? What makes it so interesting is that it takes the slides, the digital images of the slides that you've prepared, of the slides that you've seen, and it's able to analyze it pixel by pixel. We know that pixels are the smallest unit of what an image is. So instead of missing out things that I, as a medical laboratory scientist, looking at my 100, my 150, my 200 fields in the microscope, we usually miss. Convolutional neural network, the deep learning model would not miss it. Since it's analyzing this slide pixel by pixel, it takes note of the shapes, of the sizes, of even to the less minute details. So we'll move on to the applications. They identify rare or abnormal cells like the blast cells in leukemia, automates digital blood smear reviews, and differentiates morphologically similar cells accurately. There are some analyzers, I think, along the line of the hernia and the older models, the Mythican and the likes. When you run your analysis and you see that the monocytes are, let's say, about 15 or 20, or you have a high number of lymphocytes, and probably you just started working at the facility, and then the supervisor comes to tell you that take some out of the monocytes and then add it to the lymphocyte, because the machine sometimes mistakes the lymphocytes for as monocytes. But with your deep learning model and with the newer models of the hematology analyzers that are being built, we do not have these type of issues. So the benefits: expert level accuracy with massive data sets, detect rare diseases, support remote and automated diagnosis in resource-limited labs. You know, prior to this seminar, I think yesterday, we were able to listen to how we can continue how we can do our jobs as medical laboratory scientists, how we can practice medical laboratory science in resource-limited settings. The fact is, the entire Nigeria is a resource-limited setting, and the way diagnostic is moving is getting to the point where post-COVID, the world has been trying to move into non-contact diagnosis, where medical laboratory scientists have the less contact with patient sample as much as possible. You try to limit patient sample because you're trying to preserve the lives of these people that are doing these jobs. And then with the deep learning model, you'll be able to transmit results from the cloud to wherever part of the world you want, as far as they're operating on this same model. So you can be in Nigeria and then send your slides, send your results to other hematologists or other medical laboratory scientists in Ghana, in the US, in the UK, and then you can make your diagnosis. Now, what are the requirements for AI in diagnosis? High quality data. When we talk about high quality data, that is one of the major problems that we have when we train AI models in this country. It's even more of a problem than funding. quality data. We are supposed to have a centralized data bank for our medical records. This is not just patient information. We're talking about advanced clinical cases, digital blood smears, and so on and so forth. Now, to be able to train this AI model, you need high quality data from varying patient populations. You need data sets from the east, from the north, from the west, different parts of the country to be able to actually get a holistic approach and a holistic view of what is actually represented in those populations. I'll talk about robust infrastructure, powerful graphic processing units, and scalable cloud systems for AI processing. While listening to the lecture on health informatics, we could see that cloud systems are actually what we should be operating on, though sometimes it could be tricky, but cloud systems are the way forward for both health informatics and also for AI processing. Now we look at expert collaboration, close teamwork between lab scientists and data engineering. I think this is also a point where we are having some certain type of problem and gap, and hopefully we'll be able to address it moving forward. Validation studies, rigorous testing ensures reliable AI performance. Despite the fact that we are saying AI is good, AI has come to advance healthcare, AI has come to advance diagnostics, we should understand that the same way that we are being subjected to examinations and tests, your AI model, your analyzers, and whatever machine or equipment is being used in is also subjected to the same type of vigorous testing and examinations. Now, ethical compliance, address privacy, consent, and legal standards. Now, we'll talk about how AI models are trained for diagnosis. Problem definition. Most times, people will say a problem known or a problem shared is a problem solved. You need to know what you need your AI model to do when it comes to diagnosis. Do you want your AI model to be able to predict what type of blood cancer this person is going to have? Do you need your AI model to predict if this person is going to have acute myeloid leukemia or acute lymphocytic leukemia? What do you need your AI model to do? So you clearly define the diagnostic challenge to address with AI, such as automated analysis of blood smears for disease detection or tissue analysis of tissues or whatever it is. Data collection and data cleaning. Like I said, data collection is one of the points where we have severe challenges. So we need to gather large level of clinical data sets of blood smear images, ensuring quality and accuracy. So it's not just any type of data. You need to pick quality data, quality images, quality results that you can use to feed your AI model. The model training, you choose appropriate AI algorithm like the convolutional neural networks or random forest to train on blood smear data. And then testing and deployment, you evaluate model performance on various diagnostics, fine-tune and then deploy into laboratory workflows with ongoing monitoring. So it's not just enough to test and then deploy your AI model. You have to keep monitoring it. Like the speaker for our health informatics said that you need to be there when he gave the example of the spec, the selector he used giving abnormally high glucose results, and then they had to recalibrate it from the beginning and recalibrate everything. It's a type of it's a way of monitoring what you're actually doing with the machine, because if you feel like anytime it passes calibration or anytime it passes is going to give you results, you will run into trouble and then you will not provide quality and accurate results. So despite testing and deployment, despite the training that the AI model that goes for diagnostics, you still need to monitor it at certain intervals, because most times people say AI is revolutionizing diagnostics. No, AI is not revolutionizing diagnostics. Medical lab scientists are revolutionizing diagnostics using AI as a tool. Now we'll move on to applications of AI in medical laboratory. Blood analysis, we've been saying that all the AI detects patterns in the complete blood count test, aiding rapid diagnostics. Tissue imaging, now we're talking about histopathology, automated recognition of cancerous cells will enhance histopathological accuracy. And then fluid analysis and microbiology, urine sediments, material identification are accelerated and then standardized. Now we'll talk about just the case study of what the applications are, just a summary of what the applications are in various specialties. Talk about AI-powered full blood counts. We'll talk about the accurate cell differentiation, where we said, where I mentioned that your convolutional neural networks are able to distinguish your lymphocytes and then the neutrophils and your other differential white cells with over 95% accuracy. And then interactive diagnostics. The results integrate seamlessly into lab workflows for fast, reliable decision support. Like you mentioned, we use a smart clinic in Federal Medical Center Asaba, where we are able to see our patients' data, get laboratory requests for tests and then payments and whatnot. Naturally, in saner climes, your analyzers or your machines are directly linked to your information management system or the laboratory information management system, such a way that the results are going directly from your analyzer into the patient's file or into the patient's document or whatever it is that they use. And then AI in histopathology, we have digital slide analysis. AI scans high resolution tissue images to detect malignant features rapidly. And then the early cancer detection supports diagnostics in breast, cervical, and prostate cancers with high precision. Now, we all know that when we talk about cancers, before it gets to the stage where we know that it's uncontrollable, before it gets to that point where the proliferation is so malignant or is so full-blown that nothing can really be done, we know that there are some early stage changes that happen in those tissue cells, in those cells basically. Now, what AI is able to do is it's able to detect and then predict that these kind of changes are occurring on these cells, and then this is what should be done and this is not what should be done. It helps to aid the clinician's decision, it helps to aid the medical laboratory scientists in whatever it is they're trying to diagnose. Two more grading. Automate grading to standardize results and reduce subjectivity amongst sciences. For me, I like to say that most of the time, microscopy seems opinion-based, it seems subjective, because everybody would not have the same opinion about a particular slide. There are some people that would see more, there are some people that would see less, there are some people that would think that this is what this is, there are some people that would think this is what this is. Although there's also a premise that everybody will still hack it into, but still there are still a couple of differences, there are still some subjectivities among it. What AI helps to do with this standardization is that it helps to bring everybody to the same level, helps to put everybody on the same page and then create a standard that this is this and then this is that. We'll move to the last, which is improved consistency. When you have proper standardization, obviously you have improved consistency. This reduces variability between the observers, enhancing diagnostic confidence and patient outcomes. And then we'll talk about microbiology diagnostics. Colony morphology analysis. AI uses image recognition to classify colonies by shape, size, and color, differentiate bacteria like Escherichia coli, Staphylococcus aureus by patterns. We know that different different organisms have their own growth pattern, they have their own sizes, they have their own shapes, and so on and so forth. So what it's able to do is practically distinguish and differentiate these microorganisms by their colonies. Automated plate readings. The AI quickly identifies cultural results, flags suspicious growth, and quantifies colonies. It reduces turnaround time for clinical diagnostics. Pathogen identification from microscopy. The deep learning model interprets gram stains, distinguishing bacterial shapes and arrangements, something so similar to the colony morphology analysis. And then the antimicrobial susceptibility testing. AI predicts resistance via zone inhibition as well as the growth curve analysis. And diagnostics and genomics. Artificial intelligence analyzes PCR and sequencing results to detect pathogens and mutations, supports diagnosis of tuberculosis, COVID-19, sexually transmitted diseases, as well as resistance factors. Now we'll talk about the benefits essentially. Speed. We all know what our automation does for us, and we know AI is something that is incorporated into our automation. So tests that are usually supposed to take 48 hours will take lesser time. So we accelerate our diagnostic processes for quicker results. Accuracy enhances precision in detecting medical conditions. And then staff support provides valuable assistance to laboratory professionals. For me, I like to say, I've been hearing debates of artificial intelligence, automation coming to replace medical laboratory scientists. The factual thing is that there is no way AI is going to replace medical laboratory scientists. AI is here to support and not to replace. Because without you or without us being the medical laboratory scientists, there is no data, there is no training that this AI model can undergo to carry out diagnosis that does not involve medical laboratory scientists. Now we'll talk about standardization. It ensures consistent and uniform diagnostic procedures. Challenges of AI adoption in Nigerian medical laboratories. Low digital infrastructure. If we do not have low digital infrastructure, there will not be need for a seminar talking about health informatics and how we can integrate health informatics into our laboratories. Reasons for some of these seminars are due to the challenges and due to the problems that we face as medical laboratory scientists on a day-to-day basis in the country and in the environment we find ourselves. Many labs lack modern digital systems for AI integration. We talked about power, we talked about light. You cannot say you want to operate an artificial intelligence-based or artificial intelligence backbone laboratory service when you do not have light. Sometimes the machines and the equipment that we use, they do not even need to be turned off as much as we put them off. But then due to the fact that we do not have light, we do not even have alternative power supply. If you need 24 hours power, you need to provide it yourself. Sometimes it's not even sometimes, every time it presents a major problem. Limited access to structured data. When I started talking about the requirements for training AI models, I mentioned that one of the major problems is data collection and then data scarcity. Now, data scarcity and unstructured formats hinder artificial intelligence model training. If you do not have proper information, if you do not have proper data, there is no way you can train a model or a machine to do what it is you want that machine to do. High deployment costs. I don't think we need to say much on this, but we do know that we have a very and an extremely weak currency. In order to deploy this type of hardware and this type of software or artificial intelligence at any level at all, you need to spend some money, and not just some money, a whole lot of money. Investments in AI hardware and software is often prohibitive due to the nature of the costs involved. Technical skill gaps. Shortage of trained personnel limits effective AI use. Most of the time when we were in school, I don't think we had any technological aspect that had to do with hardware, that had to do with software, that had to do with artificial intelligence. And to be very honest, it's actually a limiting factor for me. I don't know about other people, but it's actually a significant limiting factor for me. To be able to get into this field of training machines, learning about AI, programming, and so on and so forth, I had to put in numerous years of extra work apart from what I had to do as a medical laboratory scientist. I don't know if some of us here are involved in software or hardware programming or whatnot, but I do know it's a major problem for us. That skill gap is very, very present. And then we'll talk about the last one, resistance and regulation. Nigeria is very resistant to change, extremely resistant to change. So most of the time when some of these things come, we find people that try to resist it and say these things don't work, these things don't work. I remember some time ago when we were trying to get with the advent of these automatic cars that you don't need to use your clutch and whatever. So I was talking to one of the pastors in the church, and my auntie wanted to get an automatic car, and then he said, she should not get the automatic car. If you should stop on the road, they cannot push it. I'm like, the reason she should not get the automatic car is because they cannot push it. What do you mean? So that's an example of actually what we're talking about. Because Nigeria faces with some of the time. Lack of regulatory frameworks and fear of change slow the adoption of these technological advancements. Ethical and regulatory consideration, patient privacy. In Senate crimes where medical information can be used as bargaining chips to extort money from popular people or government officials, we see that they take cybersecurity very, very seriously. Because you having access to a patient's medical data, having access to a patient's results, can give you an edge over that patient, and you can use that in a bid to blackmail the patient. So patient privacy is a very, very important part of the regulatory concerns when we talk about adopting AI and other technological advancements in our diagnostic processes. So protecting sensitive clinical information against misuse as well as breaches. And then AI bias and fairness. Ensuring AI does not perpetrate discriminatory practices affecting patient care. Now, this is one of the reasons why we collect data from different parts of the world, different parts of the country to train AI models, because you want to be able to standardize the approach that AI model is going to give to diagnostics. You do not want it tilting to the left or tilting to the Caucasian population or tilting to the African population and so on and so forth. They will move to clinical validation. Necessity of rigorous clinical trials and government approvals before deployment. So like us that write our professional exam, the first one and then the second one, the AI model is also supposed to undergo those type of strict and then rigorous examinations. The only difference is they will not pay for indexing. Then transparency, making AI decision processes explainable to clinicians and patients, because these are our primary customers. So it's not just about using it for diagnostic. We should be able to explain what is involved and what it entails on a holistic view and on a very explainable note. Then we'll move on to the future directions for AI in laboratory diagnosis. Broader adoption of AI, routine development of AI tools for common laboratory tests. Then advanced pathology, integration of AI-assisted pathology and cytology for precise diagnostics, personalized diagnostics, combining genomic data with AI for individualized patient insights. The world and diagnostics going forward, treatment bases going forward, treatment plans going forward, we've been able to see that there are some individuals that respond to certain treatments more than some other individuals, and this is due to this unique and then the genomic data of that person. Everybody should have, not everybody rather, but treatment plans should be tailored according to the person's genomic data, according to the person's clinical history, basically. It makes treatment more effective and it makes it less of a problem. And then we'll talk about collaborative innovation, partnership between AI developers and Nigerian laboratories to tailor solutions to our diagnostic problems. For our recommendations, I will recommend that we enhance the digital structures in our laboratories, invest in upgrading lab systems to support AI tools effectively, build technical expertise, train personnel with skills for AI operation and maintenance, personnel that are medical laboratory scientists, not just data scientists. And then we need to foster regulatory compliance, encourage collaborative innovation. We need to be able to partner with AI developers to tailor solutions for our day-to-day and our local diagnostic needs. In conclusion, AI-powered diagnostics hold great promise for Nigerian medical laboratory by enhancing speed, accuracy, as well as standardization. The challenges ahead, despite challenges related to data quality, integration, ethical concerns, continued innovation and collaboration will enable widespread adoption of these AI-powered diagnostic tools in our country and in our laboratory environment. The future of laboratory diagnostics lies in personalized AI-driven solutions that improve patient outcome and healthcare efficiency and efficacy. These are my selected references. I would like to thank every single person here, the chairman of the occasion, as well as the organizers of this program. And also, I want to thank everybody for listening.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate them. I want to entertain questions, please, from the audience on the delivery. Okay.
Standing on my existing protocol. Thank you, MLS Saze, for this. I just want to make a contribution, some observation before I ask my question. Okay, I just want to just say this to those moderating facilitators. When a speaker comes to the floor, we've been doing this before, I think it's best we have a citation about the speaker. If it's just 30 seconds to 1 minute, it would help. Do you understand? Because there was something he mentioned that made me go that way. We had the professor yesterday and agenda duration was just cut to the rostrum, so we'll know where the person is coming from, the background. Now, to the speaker, I want to ask, do we have something, or do you have something like a boot camp, for those who have interest in this area? Some years ago, NIT came out with a program. They told us that there was scholarship, and I put in for it because I wanted to know the nexus between being a medical lab scientist and creating software. At the end of the day, during the sessions, I was asking questions, and it was as if my money, I'm sorry to say this, it was as if my money was just laid to waste. The man could not answer my questions. Just that. Now, there was also, like, I think this was in 2009, there was a scientist working with Regency Hospital in VI that came up with a software. LIS was just coming up on board then. And he brought it to the hospital management. They brought somebody else I don't know, I think a physician who brought his own model. And now they borrowed things from elements from his and imputed that and discarded his. Now, the next question is, what are the things I need to put in place if I, as a scientist, is bringing up my model? I'm coming to meet you as a client, potential client, and I need you to patronize my stuff. And I don't need my things to be, that's intellectual, what they call it, plagiarism. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Give him behind you.
May I stand on the existing protocol? My name is Comrade Gabriel Ezashi from Delta State Local Government Council. The speaker have just hinted us on this type of AI in diagnostics. And I want to say that it interests me to know that AI can perform, analyze slides, read slides, and make predictions. I can visualize how AI can be used in hematology and chemistry. But when it comes to microscopy, I want the speaker to tell me how the AI device or diagnostics is incorporated in microscopy. Is it a device that can be attached to the microscope? Or is it a whole lot of machine just like that, please? And my second question, concerning this development, I think you talk about our losing our job and all that. I think quackery will be promoted seriously if these tools are available. Our, what do you call it, our oppositions can make use of it seriously. So I believe that Delta State should work hard in dealing with quackery of medical laboratory practice in Delta State. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to start from where our boss from the local government stopped. So we see the way we are looking at this AI thing, we are still looking at it as if it's an option. It's not an option anymore. It's now becoming necessary. It's now part of us. Like all these threats that we're talking about, like our arrivals or our quackery coming in, should be what we should combat. First of all the equipment that are being produced now are produced in form where they can be AI powered. So as medlab scientists, we have to first of all embrace the fact that this is the new state. We cannot do without it right now. Now, how do we combat quackery? That one is another thing entirely. So what I want to urge us is this. I've seen cases where a lot of those that have advanced in the profession still want to reject AI as it were, sharing words like nothing like manual still. If I count this thing manually, I will get you. Those statements, they are wrong now because even in quality and accuracy, AI, according to the speaker, have been proven to be better than humans when it comes to ensuring quality. Now, I want to let us know that it's a challenge to every one of us. Before, AI started a long time ago, where AI were just to receive information and act on them, that they were just servants. Now they are designing AI to take leadership position. So what it means is that we have to now think, they are giving us more work to do, to think ahead of the AI. AI that we say 1 + 1 2 is gone. The one that will tell you why you should do 1 + 1 and what you can do if it's not 1 + 1, that's what we are having now. meaning that we, according to him, have to be ahead of the AI. And most of us are not even at the level of the past AI. Talk more of the current ones that are coming. So I want to urge every one of us, whether we like it or not, if you don't want the new profession to swallow you or relegate you, it's not a choice. My point is out to me that it's not a choice for us, it's a must. Thank you.
So the first question, if I heard you correctly, is if there is a bootcamp for this. First of all, no. From my side, no, not at all. Because I've seen that most of the time when you try to train Nigerians or try to train some young medical laboratory scientists on what these technological advancements can do for us as scientists, they tend not to have the interest most of the time, because it's not something you can do in 3 to 4 months. It's not something you can do in 1 to 2 years. I started working on AI when I was in my 200 level or 300 level, and since then it has been a continuous building process. So it's not the kind of commitment that I can make to say I want to have a bootcamp for young people or for any other persons. Then the second question, you said if you as a client is trying to get these type of systems into your own environment, what do you need to put into place?
Yes, if I as the technical, as the software engineer,
Okay.
as the scientist in this field, I'm trying to pitch my business to a potential client.
Yeah.
What I need to do so that my intellectual property is not taken
Taken
secure. Thank you.
Well, that is not necessarily around medical laboratory science. Firstly, you're talking about intellectual property protection. You're talking about IP. That's what you're talking about. So essentially, to protect your intellectual property, you need to have a copyright in place. That is one major factor. If you do not have a copyright in place, then your intellectual property can be duplicated elsewhere. So if you are coming to a potential client to tell them what and what they need or what and what they should do to get you are a developer, to get you to your ideas, you're pitching your ideas, in order to get them not to take that elsewhere, you need to be able to copyright what that is, and you need to make your information so unique that when it gets duplicated elsewhere, you can know that this has been duplicated, and then you can take it through the necessary legal standings and procedures that you need to take.
I don't know whether you were there when the lawyer was there. Okay, if you were there, you will notice that there were 2 agencies. I think the slides are there. Though you may find it difficult, but there are 2 agencies that the lawyer mentioned while he was delivering on the issue of Etica, because he actually answered part of this your question. Generally, we take a lot of things for granted in Nigeria. Once you develop anything you feel is unique, you need to protect it. The data, whether it had to do with written or software, you need to go to what do you call what did you mention now? Copyright and data. I think they're just really as review the law, because of software issues that were not originally there. If we are following the trends, we should know some of all these things. We don't really follow news. We find out that they recently reviewed it because of electronic, where they introduce electronic informations for protections and all that. So both software are now included. They expanded the name also to add it instead of just the original copyright. No, they now added the data into the name. So once you develop something that you go down there, naturally there are some rules. They make sure no other person had publications, to make sure no other person had developed such things, and then they subject it also for search. Once it passes and is registered, then you are protected. If another person uses it, the law is there for you to pursue your case. And I want to quickly add some things, probably diving into the question. If we follow this lesson, thank you very much for the lesson, you will discover that AI is not new really, as we are saying. and it's just that it has moved into deep learning. There are, so, and then it's still progressive. We have not reached there, so it's ongoing. Right now, most hematology analyzer that is in the market, the modern ones, you will notice they have improved some things such that I know most people just take the film when it comes. But most at times you will see some extensions under the reason where most of them comes in abbreviation. And when you click on it, it opens another page where they begin to interpret some results and make suggestions. You will see they will tell you atypical, samples. They begin to give you some info, but most at times we don't bother to go there. Those were not AI that is telling you. And some of them, when you get there, you will see where they suggest. That's where you notice that your job cannot really be taken. You will see where the AI will tell you most of the time that you need to do so to cross-check this result, what they are giving to you. And that's why the training is ongoing, like what he said. In this part of the world, we don't have the data enough to train our AI, because you need to push in a whole lot of data. Because you train the AI like you train a student to understand, to recognize, and so he needs to see thousands of blood films with interpretation that a medical lab scientist need to say, this is what this means, this is what this means. So the AI now recognize. So anytime you see something that is okay, this is what this means. So, but there are more sensitive machines that are coming. Like somebody mentioned, some of them even go as far as including more buttons or features to tell you that you need to add there to interact with the AI, to assist us. Naturally, I want to encourage us. I know this house has a lot of young people. For the old people, I want to encourage us to try and improve our, technological. So many of us can't even effectively use our phone. And some young people, now, if I ask now, how many of us even have an AI, that we interact with here? You may find out that, you may have I know you are an analog. You need to improve now, because ChatGPT, there are other ones. So there are many now, but even there are even unpaid ChatGPT that you can use. You can interact with. You can ask questions. In fact, when I was trying to develop one issue on medical lab and medical laboratory science council, I asked the AI, I said, I need this information. And he provided, I said, it's not enough. And yet I went back and improved the information. And I said, customize it in relation to medical laboratory science council. The AI did. And then I decided, so please add references. The AI did. We will talk. So these are things we need to begin to understand that it's here now. Let's leave the issue of which and these things and all that. We need to use it also. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir.
I think Doctor has been able to answer your question. Yes. For the microscopy, okay, yes. Like I said, I spoke about the Mindray MC80, essentially. Now, finding it weird that an AI model can interpret slides, I find it funny sometimes, most of the time. Now, when we talk about the Mindray, it's a hematology analyzer that comes accompanied with a microscope. So essentially, after you do your analysis, you've made your slide, you've stained, you input your slide into the slot for the microscope. It analyzes it at pixel level, like I talked about, the deep learning and then the convolutional neural networks, essentially. And it analyzes these films pixel by pixel. What do we mean by pixel by pixel? A pixel is the smallest unit of an image, essentially. I cannot analyze a slide pixel by pixel. I don't think anybody here can analyze a slide pixel by pixel. So essentially, that's the point where diagnostics and then microscopy for our hematology analyzers is headed. So I hope I've been able to satisfy.
In essence, I don't know whether we have two machines for culture, both for blood culture. These are the new software. They are able to monitor growth pattern. They actually operated basically by inputting the various biochemical analysis that is used to identify organism, such that when you put it, is able to, once it picks up a growth, once certain indices of a particular organism, it takes it immediately and then analyze using the biochemical things that are inputted in it, and it will come up with accurate diagnosis. This is E. coli, this is Escherichia coli, this is clearly. And then, they have moved on to running sensitivity. The point is just because we are in resource limited environment, we are not able, because when we costed it to do a blood culture, because you can do a blood culture, that one now you don't have to wait. Immediately it picks a growth within 24 hours. It alerts you. They call it BAT alert. Then they have the one they call Vitec, which is used to do the sensitivity. So, these things are already there. There are even better improved models that can, so before, when we talk about issue of people getting a culture results within 24 hours, it looks strange because, our mindset, how did it happen? It didn't need to grow. But now, there are machines, you can get, cultures in less than 24 hours. They boost the growth. They look at the organism, concentrate them, get them, boost the growth, and sometimes within 24 hours, they will identify that this organism is present in enough quantity to have caused disease, and they do the sensitivity and give you result in less than 24 hours. So, but we're going there, but even the FNC we have there, it will cost almost about 80,000 naira to do a blood culture. How many people can afford it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We appreciate it. Please put your hands together for him. He has done a good job. I was listening to news, that was sometime late last year. One of the European Commission sub-entities, one of their more like a subcommittee, they passed a bill, and the bill was that the bill was for the protection of African intellectual property. For example, when we go to the village, we see our parents, they cure certain diseases without having to go to the hospital. Jaundice, malaria, diarrhea, and stuff like that. These are things that our parents usually use. They don't have hospitals around, yet they bred all of us and we are this grown. Now, one pharmaceutical company from the West will come, adapt that particular herb or root, then manufacture a drug from it, patent it, receive heavy copyright benefits, and start selling the medication. And our old parents who discovered these things benefit nothing. The bill was to ensure that if there is anything that any of these Africans, any of these Asians and the like have been using traditionally, for you as a pharmaceutical giant that wants to develop on it, you must recognize those locals and they must have their benefits somehow. So that also applies to the copyright that was mentioned earlier for intellectual properties. Then automation, we are going very fast. Last year we attended a conference, a GIL conference in Lagos. There was a machine that one of our colleagues had. I'm not able to project it, but this is how it looks. This is how it looks. It's for malaria diagnosis. It is, I think it has aspects of AI in it too. It goes into specific identification. Once you add a volume of the blood sample into a cassette and slot it in, it will identify the species, whether it is falciparum, virus, or what have you. Then it will give you the parasite load. It will give the parasite load per microliter. So what I use it more for is diagnosis and monitoring. You give this patient anti-malaria, he has malaria, he comes back to the clinic the next time. You don't give more drugs, you repeat the same investigation. If you had, let's assume, 25,000 parasites per microliter on the initial visit, and you are having 5,000 parasites per microliter on the second visit, it it means the therapy is working, even when the patient is still symptomatic. So you give something else until you have 0 parasite per microliter. I think they are all hinged on AI. Thank you very much for that presentation on AI. We want to move to the next, which is product presentation by Yasi Biomedicals Limited. Yasi Biomedicals Limited. We want to invite him to the stage to give us his presentation to tell us about his product. It's possible that sample containers are already AI powered. Just through the sample container, before you know it, if you take the sample and walk to meet you inside the work area. If you have those type of containers, please let's have them, because we want to analyze everything as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Standing on the existing protocols, my name is Jude Okoko from Yasi Biomedical Limited. Now, Yasi Biomedical Limited is a company that believes in new innovation. So we believe in new innovations, so we bring the latest trade on medical devices. So I want to start from our glucometer, our Yasi glucometer. Yasi glucometer is the only glucometer in Nigerian market that dictates what we call ketone hypo. Now, ketone hypo, you always find it on some of diabetic patients when the sugar level has shoot up to 400 to 350 to 500. Other meters in the market can only do one thing for you, to write HI, that is high. But Yasi glucometer is the only glucometer that can tell you the ketone as a risk factor. It will display it in the screen. It will write ketone and show you the particular number. If it's 500, it will show you. Then when you talk about the accuracy and precision, because as a medical lab scientist, we all focus on the area of accuracy when you talk about diagnostics. Yasi glucometer has been verified by the National Hospital Abuja and UBTH. They have done their quality control analysis, and Yasi was able to Yasi glucometer was able to pass their precision and accuracy. The same thing goes on with UBTH, to the extent that the endocrinology department have to purchase enough number of it during their diabetes day to share to their patients that cannot be able to afford the strips of the previous ones they are using. And one good thing about Yasi glucometer is that it talk about the affordability of the meter. Is very affordable. Talk about the strip. The strip is very affordable. Yasi glucometer has a lot of features ahead of others. For example, you want to test a patient or you want to test yourself. The blood sample you need is just 5 UR, while other ones in the market can tell you 15 UR. Before or show you error 3 because the blood you put is not enough. Then Yasi has another advantage that when you are using Yasi, it has two-sided ways of blood collection. making it more convenient for you as you are practice. Now, as I said before, that YASI glucometer has passed the quality control analysis of National Hospital Abuja, passed quality control analysis of UBTH, Irwa Teaching Hospital. That guarantee you as a medical lab scientist or as a chief medical lab scientist, you can possibly be using YASI in your practice to quantify using that of your glucose reagent in your analyzers. Now, I want to talk about our CJOY HB meter. Our CJOY HB meter gives you the results of your hemoglobin level or hemoglobin level of your patient. At the same time, give you the HCT, which is the percentage level of the PCV of your patient. Now, the question is this: what is the accuracy? Because we all, as a healthcare provider, always bear one thing in mind, which is, are you sure this thing is accurate? Now, I want to humble you. This meter has been quantified using what we call hematocrit centrifuge to compare the results. If at all we have a variation in our HB meter, it must not be more than 1 + 1 or -1. The only thing you need is to put enough sample of 10 UR for our CJOY. So now it saves you the stress of, it's not all the time you begin to use hematocrit centrifuge. And when you use hematocrit centrifuge, there's a lot of error detected. When you are using the reader to read, it's manually, you can easily make mistake. But this is automated. My friend, I was talking about UL, the Western world has moved forward. All those manual level of things is very soon to come to an end. So there's another technology I want to bring to us. This is our CJOY lipid monitoring system. What it does is to give you your complete lipid profile of your patient, meaning that you have less stress of sourcing for TG, triglyceride, Byrandos. You know how much it is. You need to source for total cholesterol, the reagent. You need to source for HDL and LDL before you can be able to get your complete lipid profile. But technology has made it easy that even your diagnostic centers or your laboratory, you can have this device that we're going to provide this result for you. Just one cassette in one off will show you the total cholesterol, the triglyceride, the HDL, and LDL, and equally show you the ratio at the same time. Now, it saves you stress, it saves you funds. If you have to, most of my medical lab scientists are based in Benin, are using this in their center. Because when we introduce it to them, they said, Jude, no problem, I have to do my quality control analysis. I'm a scientist. If this gives me the same results using my spectrophotometer or my chemistry analyzer, simulator analyzer, then why am I wasting money? So I can assure you, I think I have lost count of different medical lab scientists that are using this meter in their different laboratories and their diagnostic centers. Haven't done their quality control analysis and confirm that the accuracy and the precision are able to meet up with that of using spectrophotometer or using your semi-auto chemistry analyzer. So why wasting the money? For you to be able to source For total cholesterol reagents by Randolph, I think the last time I checked in the market is 90,000. Source for TG is about 85,000. Source for HDL, I think 70,000. By the time you calculate the reagents there, it will land in almost to 200 or 280,000 naira. And you're not even sure whether if you can consume these reagents before it gets expired on your table. But with this extra strip, because another question of what is going on in our mind now is that, you know, all these new devices or whatever, how sure the availability of the strip, this is the meter I'm talking about. How sure is the availability of the strip or whatever? It's not the one that I'll just buy now. When I want to buy the strip, they say the company has followed up or whatever. That is our own business. We don't want to get out of the business because the Falcon deal about this meter lies this on the strip. So as a businessman, I don't want to go out of business. That's why it is my duty to make sure that these strips are available anytime, any moment you need it. This is about our 5 years in the system. If you can ask some of your colleagues in Benin that are using this Sejoy lipid profile, they will assure you that there's no time we look for this strip and they say it is not available. Then we have another latest technology of our renal function, which is this meter, live here. Our renal function machine to show you your uric acid, which is the measure, and creatinine and urea. These are latest technology. It's not a must that anytime you want to do your urea, you want to do your renal function, that you must begin to source for reagents. You need to source for uric acid reagents. You need to source for creatinine differently. You need to source for urea for you to be able to perform your renal function test. One thing I like with our Western world is that they don't need their permission to invent or to move forward. Before they create this, before they invented this meter, they don't say, okay, let's go and take a permission of MLS of Nigeria, whether if they can approve us to invent this meter or go and check other countries in the world, whether if they can be able to give us the right to invent it. They don't need their permission to do that. The idea is that they have moved forward, they have moved forward. And there's no how we can stop them. This work is trending. So it's not a must that each time you want to do your renal function, that you must go ahead and begin to source the reagent differently. You can have this in your center. The only thing you need to do for me as an assignment, this thing this guy is talking about, let me go and do my own quality control analysis to do my clinical trials. If this meter can be able to meet up with that of my normal one I know in order to move forward, and if it gives you the same result, then why won't you have it as a backup? So another thing I want to introduce to us is our 4-in-1 hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV, and syphilis. They comes, as you can see here, they comes in one cassette. In that cassette, as you can see, hepatitis B has its own column, hepatitis syphilis has its own column, HIV has its own column, and HCV has its own column. It's another latest technology. You don't need to begin to source for hepatitis C differently, hepatitis B differently, hepatitis syphilis or HIV differently. If you have this in your center, you can run your test once, especially when you are screening a patient that needs this 4 major parameter. Then another thing I want to introduce to us Let me put our Petamen. Is not there? No. That's. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. This, we equally deal on pharmaceuticals. This is our pharmaceutical division. In our pharmaceutical division, we have our Petamen, we have our Feta women, we have our prostrate, we have our fibroid and fibroid tablet and fibroid tea. Now, as a scientist, one of our major work, when you want to check the sperm count of a patient, you must come to a table. And you discover that this patient has what we call azoospermia. Don't lose hope. We have a lot of positive cases that these products were able to solve of the issue of azoospermia. What distinguishes this product, I want to talk more about the ingredient, the active ingredient about our Petamen, is that outside that this product contains vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, B6, B12, float zinc, which is minerals, is that it contains herbal ingredients. This herbal ingredient is what distinguishes product from other ones in the market, because all of us have to focus on what is new about the product. What is new about the product? What is new about this product that distinguishes it from other ones in the market is that it has what we call an additional herbal ingredient. When we bring these products in the Nigerian market, we first partner with Fertility Center, which is gynecologist. When they tested these products, they saw there's a lot of cases that became positive. One of my gyno doctor called me and said, please, Jude, I will need 500 bottles of this. I was very, very flabbergasted. Chief, what are you doing with 500 bottles of Petamen? He says, because this is what I am sure, so I'm selling to other fertility centers in Lekki. She based in Lagos. Now, I want to talk about our Feta women. Our Feta women, when we talk about issue of concerns, hormonal imbalances, prolactin issue, low LH, low FH, this product has been proven, not just been proven, we have a lot of positive cases with most of our fertility centers that were partnering on this product. So it solved the case of not just LH and FH, even the case of prolactin. This product has solved the issue. And another advantage is that the product is very, very affordable, meaning that your patient will not feel so hard to afford the money. It's very, very affordable. It comes in 60 tablets per bottle. Then we have our BP monitors and our we have our 3 model of our BP monitors. You can go to our table here and check. We have other of our reagents there. We have our hepatitis HIV. We have our combos and all that. Our prices are very, very affordable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we will look for you. We will tell our colleagues about your products. We will look for money. We will come. We will buy. And we will use them. We will give you feedback whether they work or they not work. Please put your hands together for me. So we want to go over to the next presentation. Enhancing the training of the next generation of medical laboratory scientists. Enhancing the training of next generation of medical laboratory scientists. Please give your undivided attention to Dr. Musa Kari Osakwe. She is going to be the moderator, and whether she likes it or not, she's our welfare for life. You see all those jollof rice that you have been eating and making sure that no one, people know the shop party rice finish before, but this one will shop all the place finish. You see anybody who throw away plate where rice dey inside? It's not possible because the food sweet. God see Dr. Nusaka, please put your hands together for her. We are going to make you welfare of MLS here so that they will take care of our council properly. Please, let's give her attention.
Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished scientists, my seniors, my colleagues, and the new generation. My name is Dr. Nusakai Osakwe. I teach medical lab science. So that's why I'm also privileged to talk to us this morning about how we can enhance the training of the next generation of medical laboratory scientists. Okay, so now I know that this program is being aired, so it's not only us. People will come across this online, social media, YouTube, now and later. So it's important for them to know what we're doing. And we know that medical lab science involves the study of fluids, blood samples, aspirates, exudates from human and then sometimes from animals for the purpose of diagnosis, for follow-up of treatment, and then also for research purposes. And who is a medical lab scientist? We all know that a medical lab scientist is someone that has been licensed to practice as a medical laboratory scientist. Now, these are some of the responsibilities of a medical laboratory scientist, like we know, performing laboratory tests and diagnosis, the use and application of laboratory equipment and technologies, interpreting results, and then ensuring quality control in laboratory facilities, maintaining laboratory equipment, troubleshooting and the others, and then adhering to safety protocols and regulation, training and supervising of anyone that you are senior to that is placed under you in the laboratory, whether still a student or even a junior medical laboratory scientist. And then also, we have the responsibility of collaborating with other healthcare professionals in the field as well. Then we also have responsibility of conducting research also. These are some of the responsibilities of a medical laboratory scientist. Now, the MLS program evolved from the laboratory having what was known then as laboratory boys, because they were not medical laboratory scientists per se, laboratory boys, because as at that time, it was only one laboratory that was in Nigeria. So there were boys who were working with the only medlab technologist that was brought in. The history has it that the person was delisted from the army after World War I, and then he was brought in, he came into the country, and then he started doing the small laboratory work, and then all the boys that are helping him, bring this, drop this, they were termed then as laboratory boys. And then subsequently, the education proper started somewhere around in 1920, and then from there, they started training officially these laboratory boys to become lab technologists. And then from there, around 1940, there was an improvement. Now from that 1940, these people down to around 1948, these people were being trained just to say, okay, know how to do this, add this, remove this. That training was now upgraded to a point that they will have a particular certificate that was known as Cambridge then, and then with that they will use it to admit them into that training, and then they will be on that training for 3 years. Then after, when they complete the 3 years of training, either the government or the institution will sponsor them to UK, where they will now do a bump-up program in the UK, and then after that program, they will subject them to the professional exams, and then when they pass, they will come back as medical laboratory technologies, and that was how it started. And then gradually, after some time, the Institute of Medical Laboratory Technology then was established. And then after the institute was established, the institute now had the responsibility of training medical laboratory technologists. And then with time, it graduated from producing medical laboratory technologists with AIMLS degrees and then to fellows. Then from there, we entered into the phase of BMLS where we are now. And then just recently, we have upgraded again to the level of DMLS. And so, as at now, according to MLSCN register, we have 63 schools that are training medical laboratory scientists in Nigeria. That's as at last year, 2024. And I'm sure between that time and now, the number would have increased. But as at last year, and this is presently what we have on the MLSCN website, it has not been upgraded yet, but I know that it should be maybe a little bit more than this one. Now, we're looking at strategies. How do we now enhance the training of the next generation of medical laboratory scientists? Now, we know that we've been talking about AI, development of new technologies here and there. But for these new technologies to be well incorporated into our practice, it has to begin well. It has to be included, incorporated into the training system that we already have. Because the people we are training now are the tomorrow of the profession. We that are here now as members of the profession who have been trained, what you can see now was what was done yesterday. The product of yesterday is what we are right now, or what was done yesterday is what we are right now. So whatever it is that we are doing now in training medical laboratory scientists is what we will find tomorrow. So it's important to look at certain strategies that will help us to enhance this training so that we can have, so that the future can keep getting brighter and brighter. Now, it begins with curriculum development. I remember Dr. Adu said something about it, right? Was it Dr. Adu that spoke about it, that you cannot just introduce anything into training when it is not inside of the curriculum? So that's the foundation. That's where it starts from. All these new technologies that we're talking about must first be introduced into the curriculum. And that's why I'm not very comfortable with the fact that our curriculum can only be reviewed once in 5 years. 5 years is a very long time. Things can change in 5 years. So if we have opportunity as stakeholders, we have stakeholders around here, heads of departments, deans, and people who have opportunity to speak to those who are in charge, maybe in NUC, maybe in council. I think this curriculum review should be done more often. I think that 5 years gap is too long, so that little things can be added every now and then. Yes. So that's important. Now, in regular reviews, then another aspect is interdisciplinary courses, which we're already doing. There are some things we have introduced right from time. I remember we did some level of biomedical engineering during our training. We did some other areas. We did some level of pharmacology during our training and other things. So that is one thing that will help us to enhance the training of medical laboratory. So I think we can expand it, we can make it broader, so that we can touch on other areas of medical science little by little to enhance our training. And then also the integration of new technologies like the AI. I don't want to emphasize so much on this AI thing because it's what we've been hearing since we came here from trial Wednesday, trial Thursday, and even today. So we cannot but introduce AI into our training. And then, this is one very important part that we must look at, we must work with, we must continuously do. This is something that we always do. Now, I've always heard that they say medical laboratory science is a practical course. I'm sure I've heard that over and over again. They will say medical lab science is a practical course. But now, let's look at the reality. If you go to the training, particularly in our public institution, is it really a practical course? Is it really practical? In our public institution, I beg to differ. We are not seeing any significant practical in our public institutions. I don't know about the private institutions, but I also think that even with the aspect of laboratory posting, even the private institutions are more at advantage than the public students from the public institutions. And why? Because you know that the students from private institutions are special candidates, special remuneration, to the facilities that are training them, so they give them special attention. But you see the ones coming from the public institutions, they are not well exposed. But I'll just merge them together because I tried to separate practicals and clinical postings, but I think because of time we can merge it together and talk about them. Now, if you look at the practicals that we are exposing the students to, I think from experience from our institution that these students are not well exposed to the right practicals that they should be exposed to in our institutions. And why do I say that? Now, when our institutions were established, I'll use my institution, I don't want to mention name, but I'll use my institution as an example. The quota that when the school was built, or when the department was first registered, the quota that was given to that department was 50. But today, in year 1, we have close to 250 students admitted in 100 level. Now, they keep the MUC or the council will increase, they keep increasing quota. From 50 you go to 70, from 70 you go to 100 to 110 to 120 to 150 to. But have we considered whether there is improvement in the facilities on ground for the training of these people? The same facilities that were on ground when the initial accreditation was given for 50 students, it's the same facility you have for 250 students. So how do you train them? So without effectiveness in hands-on and practical, then I'm afraid I don't know what will happen to the next generation of medical laboratory scientists that we are producing. Now, we have a generation of scientists that have the privilege to focus a microscope maybe during internship. Because when they are in school, now sometimes we complain that these people, we don't go for lab posting, you don't go for lab posting. But let's look at the reality of facts, or the reality of it. How many of them, I'm sure I have some young ones here that will attest to what I'm saying now. How many of them have opportunity, apart from looking at a microscope, to touch microscope during practicals? How many of them have opportunity when they go to hospital for posting to touch a microscope? Now you posted 50 students to go on posting for 1 day, for 2 days in, let me just say, medical micro laboratory. And out of the 50 students, maybe you have 6-7 benches. You put maybe 7 of them to one bench. Now, as a scientist, you are on the bench. You have 100 samples to attend to. And then you have 7 students who have no idea of what you are doing. And you're now going to leave your work on the bench to be focusing on them to treat them or to train them. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to say this morning. So it's important that we look at measures to enhance hands-on training and practicals of our students if we want a future for the profession. Now, next, okay, I think I've tried to summarize that. Now look at this. This is supposed to look like a normal situation, right? Where you have 1 student to 1 microscope. But I tell you the truth, this is only in picture. We no longer have it as a reality today because we don't have enough facilities for the training of our students. And that is affecting our future, the future of the profession greatly. And so I believe that if a communique is raised from this conference and if it gets to relevant stakeholders, that God will help us so that they can look into these things. And as we are increasing quota for admission, increase funds, increase budget to purchase equipment, expand buildings, create buildings. Like I'll use my school also. We have a class of 180, 200, and then the capacity of that classroom, we have only 1 med lab classroom, and the capacity of that classroom is maximum 130. So if all the students decide to be serious and come to class, will they have seats to sit down? So these are issues that we must look into for us to enhance the training of medical laboratory scientists. Okay, then apart from, okay, we have talked about that one. Also, I've also observed too, that those who are responsible for teaching the practical, apart from facilities not being available, the people responsible for teaching the practicals are no longer doing it the way they are supposed to do. And I think I understand the reason for that, because it's overwhelming. You are one person You have been employed, only you are the only scientist in hematology to teach hematology to 180 students. Now, how do you carry them along? The materials are not there. The public address systems are not there. Nothing to show, nothing to display. Even when you ask the students, okay, we try to say, okay, bring your laboratory, your, what they call it? Not manual. No. What you carry when you are going for lab posting. Mobile lab. They say, okay, bring your mobile lab, put all the things inside your mobile lab. In fact, the new generation, so how many of them even know mobile lab? Let's even start from there. How many of them even know what a mobile laboratory is? When I observe that when students are coming for practicals, they'll hold one caricature nylon bag, they'll just put some 2, 3, 4, then you will not find cotton wool there, you will not find methylated spirit, you may not find sample bottles, you may find test tubes, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You may find 1 2 mil and 1 5 mil syringe. You will not find any cotton wool there, no plaster, no nothing. But in our days, the box, you see that box? I don't know if how many of us were able to carry that box. That box, they'll give you a specification in year 1. You prepare, they'll give you a list of the things that should be inside. We try to do it these days, but how many of us enforce it to be sure that they bring it? That's one. Another thing too, if they bring it, do they have opportunity? If all the students decide to bring all their things, the materials that they need to bring, do they even have enough benches to place them on in the laboratory as they come for practical? So these are things that we really need to look at. If we really want to enhance the training of medical laboratory scientists, now look at this laboratory. You can see well spaced. Everybody has his own space. They are doing their own thing, and I'm proud to say that this is one of our laboratories in our institution anyways. So but can we really find this type or this kind in our institutions these days? If you go to any institution and you don't find this kind of space that is enough to serve, to train students, then it may be difficult for us to say that indeed MedLab is a practical course, because the practical, we're losing the practical by the day. Clinical experience, I've also talked about it. Okay, I've talked about the first part. The clinical postings are very important because they provide students with opportunity to really, whatever it is that they have learned from the classroom and then from the small practicals they have done in school, when they come to the hospital laboratories, they have opportunity to really practicalize these things, put them to work, so that they'll have that satisfaction that yes, indeed, I've been trained. That's one aspect of it. Then secondly, the mentorship aspect. Now, I've talked to us as colleagues. We already know the shortfalls, we already know the challenges. But how many of us still take it as a responsibility to train the students, to actually train them, not to send them to go and buy you bombs and buy you mineral, or to send them on errand, go and help me type this document? How many of us are actually exposing them when they come to us to what we should expose them to? How many of us take time to teach them? We're not only talking about those teaching them in classroom. They come to you in your private laboratories. Some of them have opportunity of coming to you in your private laboratories. Some of them have opportunity coming to you in the government hospitals where you work. How many of you take time to give them assignments, quiz them, ask them questions, know what they know, so that you know where you start from in training them, in teaching them? For every bench or every student that is posted to you is an opportunity for you to impart knowledge. How many of us actually seize that opportunity? Why should I seize that opportunity to teach every student that comes my way? I may not be available tomorrow. That person that I've refused to train today may be the person that will attend to my child tomorrow. So you are not doing it because you want to help the person. You are not only doing it because you want to advance the profession. You are doing it for yourself. Because it may not be your child, it may be your relative, it may be your parent. You may not be available in that town when the person will practice tomorrow. Your parents may be there, your child may be there. And then this person that you refuse to impart knowledge will now be the one to attend to that your word. But if, for example, you discover that somebody you trained and you really imparted knowledge in that person, and then you find out later that the person was the one that attended to you or to your word, won't you have confidence that yes, this person would have done what he's supposed to do? So it is our responsibility. Apart from the fact that we saw our notes, we always forget that we saw our note to it too. During our induction, all of us were inducted. Some of us don't remember the content of the oath we swore. But part of it is that you will train anybody that is brought to you. You have sworn an oath to it. So it's our responsibility to keep that oath, to train them. Then also, apart from just talking to them, telling them what is happening on the bench and all that, also give them cases, give them scenarios, and let them come back to you. Okay, go and look at it. I give you 30 minutes, I give you 10 minutes, I give you 1 hour. Go and look at this case. Bring it back, come back and come and tell me your findings. And you will see that it's a better way of learning for them. Because when you give them that opportunity, they come back, and then if they make 1 or 2 small mistakes here, you correct them. It sticks to them. When I teach my students in school, I tell them, what I'm teaching you is not for you to pass the exam, but it's for you to gain knowledge, because you will need them tomorrow. So don't come to my class with the mindset that, let me just go and learn so that I will pass the exam. No. I'll give an example. I have two students in my facility now. I have a lab in Asabaya, and I have 2 students now. They are waiting for, one of them is awaiting professional exams, and the other one is awaiting internship. Now, they came in with no significant knowledge. So I knew I needed to do work. So I practically opened their head every day to put knowledge, and they appreciate it so much. Now, something happened. We had a patient that came in for fasting blood glucose and urinalysis. And so they said, okay, because the person has already eaten, we collected only the urine sample, and we said the patient is, luckily the patient was still around, that we have told her to come in tomorrow morning for the fasting. And I said, no, that's wrong. Do you know why it's wrong? They said they don't know. I said, because you know that the glucose level in blood, right, is a determinant factor whether you will find glucose in urine or not. So if you collect the urine now, and you collect the blood tomorrow morning, and you find blood in urine now, and the glucose you are collecting, you are doing tomorrow morning, there's no glucose. Whoever is reading your result and knows what he or she is doing will tell you that that place is a quack that is practicing there, or they don't know what they are doing there. And then that's how they opened their eyes and they were looking at me. They have graduated though, they are waiting for internship. They hit their chest to say they are medical lab scientists, but you can see their limitations. So these are the things. Expose them to real life cases, and then quiz them, and then make them understand why whatever you are doing, why you are doing what you are doing. And at the end of the day, they did that. That's another case. Then there was also another case where one of them reported glucose of 200 and something. We did the glucose estimation, and we had 200 and something milligram per DL of glucose. And one of them, I said, okay, go and do the urinalysis. Of course, somebody who has graduated, I should expect that the person should be able to do a urinalysis, right? I said, okay, go and do a urinalysis. And she did the urinalysis and write out the result. Let me see. She wrote it out and brought it to me, and I looked at it. And glucose, 200 and something milligram per DL. Glucose in urine, negative. And I called 2 of them. I said, look at this result. What is wrong? They were looking at themselves. I gave them time. Just tell me what is wrong with it. They were looking at themselves. They didn't know what they were saying. They didn't know the response they wanted to give me. Then at the end, I called them and I asked them. One of them was able to answer, what's the renal threshold of glucose? One of them answered me. The other one could not answer. And by the time I was done explaining to them, you see the joy in their faces for learning new knowledge. So for every time you have opportunity of teaching them and teaching them the right thing, now I'm talking to those who will meet you in your laboratories, those who will meet you in the hospital laboratories. For every time you have opportunity of teaching them the right thing, giving them a new knowledge, you see that they are grateful for it. Their faces are brightening for it, and they are grateful, and they will keep coming. And that respect that they have for you will increase. Why? Because they will keep telling themselves, she knows what she's doing, he knows what he's doing. And then also, integration of technology. We have said so much about this. I don't think that we need to emphasize this anymore. I think we have said a lot about technology, so there's no need. Another part that is also very important for us to do, and I think we can do it. We have academians here. I think we can do that. Why don't we integrate conferences? Like, look at, we have conference here. I don't think we have any students from any institution here, and this is not good. We have HODs here, we have deans here in our midst, or among us in Delta State. Why not make it compulsory? Let the students you are training, at least it's not part of their curriculum, but it's what you can do. Make the students you are training attend conferences, even if it's once in a year. make them attend conference. Now, if they cannot go to those places to attend conferences, you can also organize an in-house workshop for them. You can bring in some people in AMSI. You can bring in some professionals and say, we want to organize workshop for our students. So come, let them be part of it. Give them that exposure to conferences. And I believe that because many of us didn't have opportunities of attending conferences as students when we were students, that's why many of us don't value conferences till today. Now, a lot of people prefer to just pay and collect the certificate. They will call you, bring my certificate for me. Even the PowerPoint that you have posted there, many people will not download it. Some will even download and not open. They don't even know the content. All they're interested is that 4-credit CPD that they will use to renew their license next year. And besides, what is 5,000? You pay for penalty and just so they don't think they need it. But I think if we try to put in that habit of attending workshops, attending conferences in them as students, and then it's not just for them to go and attend and come. When they come back, give them opportunity to come and share what they have learned from those conferences. I think it will enhance the training of the next generation of medical laboratory scientists, and also encourage them to do on their own online courses. Now, we have many of us now still don't know that AMSI platform has online courses for us to do. 2 courses, 4 credits in a year. Many people are not aware. Some people have never taken an online course. In our own AMSI website, no talk of international websites where they are doing free online courses. As I speak, I'm doing an online course now on implementation research every Monday. And you don't even have to go there and sit in class or be there at that time, no. They'll just post the videos, they'll post the lectures, they'll give you time frame to take the lectures, 3 days, 4 days. You have up to as much as 1 week. Take your lectures. When you are done with lectures, as you are going from stage to stage, you take your exams. And they score you. Even as I am, I still take some of these exams and I still fail them. No talk of those who have never even learned anything about those things. So it's important, let's encourage our students to go for online courses, take online courses. Free online courses, there are a lot of them. And then also, collaborative networks. We are, thank God that we are here as an association. If I, from UNIZIK, I decide to collaborate with my colleagues from DOU, or collaborate with my colleagues from ACBO UNIDEL, or with my colleagues from DELSU, Abraka, and say, okay, let's collaborate, let's work together. Let's do our research together. Bring your students and my students. Let's work together. Let's look at this area together and let's exchange ideas. Let's bring in the students together. Let them meet each other. Let them exchange ideas. Let's do this research together. Collaboration in research. Networking. Connect the students from this school to another school, to another school, to another school. They don't even, the beautiful thing about it now is that they don't even need to go to travel to those places. Google Meet, Zoom. Even now, they are using, Telegram? Telegram. Use all those things, connect them, link them together, and let them meet themselves, exchange ideas, and then create a platform for them to come and share what they have learned from themselves. It will help us. It will advance the profession to another level. And then, assessment and feedback. I've mentioned that already while trying to talk earlier. It's important. It's not enough to just teach them and let them go and fulfill all righteousness. Get feedback. Are you sure that what you are teaching is entering? You need that feedback to know whether what you are teaching is entering. Okay, then another thing too that they need to learn. There's too much apprehension in MedLab. The apprehension is too much. You just hear doctor or your antenna will just go up. Hey, the person has come to fight. I think we have grown beyond that level. Not every doctor is coming to fight you. Not every doctor is interested in signing your results. So let's not incorporate that spirit, that mindset of apprehension, rivalry in the minds of our students. I think from this generation, we should start changing that narrative. We should start changing it. Not everything is fight, no. And then, also another thing too, they need to learn. We need to also add it to our training. Our students should learn. I don't know how we can do that, but I know that counseling skill is a course, but I don't know how well, I don't teach it, so I don't know how well they are being taught that course. How to relate to patients, how to relate to colleagues, how to relate to other professions in the same setting. they should also be part of their training. They should know how to talk to patients. They should know. So patients come. That's why they call them patients. I did not imagine why they are called patients. Because they need you to be patient with them. Some of them have come with so many things in that. Is anybody happy to be sick? Is anybody happy to appear in hospital? No. So when they come, some of them can be very apprehensive. They will talk to you anyhow as if you are a Mr. Nobody. I think it should be part of the training for you to understand that there are some patients that can be like this. If you shout and the patient shouts, at the end of the day, everywhere will catch fire. So we should add it to the training that students should also understand how to talk to people, how to relate to others, how to relate to patients, how to relate to colleagues, how to relate to other health professionals around where we are working. I think okay, let's look at some of these challenges. So the challenges are what we're actually going to discuss. So that's why we're going to have a panel shortly for a few minutes. Let's just discuss these things. I've listed some of these challenges here, like lack of insufficient facilities, availability of staff, like in my institutions where we have over 1,000 students in MedLab. We put all the staff together. We are not, all the academic staff together, we are no more than 30, but you are supposed to teach over 1,000 students. How we have been achieving that over the years is only God can tell us. Then, okay, I think I want to leave this so that we'll discuss these things. So with this, I want to welcome some of our colleagues to this podium. Do we have more chairs, please? So that we can now have a discussion on these challenges. How do we now go forward? How do we move forward? How do we go forward in training, in advancing the training of the next generation of medical laboratory scientists? So first I want to welcome Dr. Itangene Johnson. Please let's put our hands together. A very senior colleague. Dr. Itangene Johnson. Dr. Kwamedo Henry. And then Mr. Destiny Imade. Where is he? Okay. Dr. Henry, please, can someone call him? I think he's outside. Is he coming? Okay. All right, so briefly, we'll just have a little discussion. Do we have another mic, please? Okay, so we'll just have a little discussion. Let's wait for him. I wish I had a student here, so let's also hear the student's perspective. Do you have any student here? Student? No, not intern. Student, yes, student. Come, we want to hear your challenges. So come. I know that there are challenges, so we want to hear from you too. It's not for us to be talking and talking and talking. We want to know what we are not doing right as teachers and as seniors. Okay, so you can sit. Your name, please tell us your name.
My name is, standing on the existing protocol, my name is Iken Jude Onyeka, 500 level student, Novena University.
You're welcome. It's the 500 level students I call quarter to go. So you're welcome. You're welcome, sirs. Now, the first thing is, I want to ask, and I think I want a chorus answer on this one. Is there a challenge in our current system of training of medical laboratory scientists? Do you agree that there are challenges? Yes. Okay. All right. So I want to start with Dr. Henry. Now, look at it from, okay, maybe you start, look at it from the perspective of their training on the bench. What are the challenges? What are the challenges that you can remember with regards to training of these students on the bench?
Does the challenge start from the bench? The challenge starts from the recruitment exercise. The admission of the students, like as Randy said, I think it's more of a business talk thing now in the schools. Just populate it and they will pay the school fees. When they get to year 2, year 3, we'll trim it down. When you don't bring the right people, when you don't meet the right persons into the different departments, coming to the lab is a whole lot of problem. I mean, we have you have created the problem down. You are waiting for it to escalate when the person comes in. So the recruitment exercise basically is faulty. Merit is not there. This program is selling. Let us admit all the students, and it's actually affecting us. Then when they come for accreditation, sorry, some of you lecturers, aid your school. You aid your school where there's no lab. You create a lab. All the microscope are not working. They are all faulty. There's no light. There's no nothing on ground. You just want to push the program so that they can commence. So what are you expecting us to do in the lab? When they come, they cannot basically do most things. We take it upon ourselves. And when they are with you in your setting, you have this stress. I mean, you said it's 250. How can you teach 250 students? It's not possible now. We're going to run into musky water so we'll do such things. So first of all, the recruitment size is there. Then we are not truthful to the fact that there are no basic things on ground when the people are being admitted for them to be trained. The facilities are not there, basically. The structure is not there. They're supposed to have dedicated hostel, dedicated lab. The food will be 24 hours. Those days in school, we hardly go home. We sleep in the lab. You learn. That's how you learn. But these days, you say they go on holidays and you will have back. I don't understand. But principally, it's a very, very serious business. And it's a time bomb waiting to explode if you don't arrange this now. Like ECOMA, they lost accreditation for over 4 years so that they can clear close to about 1,200 students, sorry. 1,200 students. A particular class had 700, 800. How can you teach such people? It's not possible. Before I go over to the challenges I'm having, I want to take from the challenges I see in the recruitment exercise. That is where actually the problem begins.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So now to Dr. Ekagene. Now the ball is in your court. You are in the school. So so I think I want you to also tell us what are the challenges from the school.
Yeah, thank you so much. Before I tell you about my challenges, I just want to relate my training as a microbiologist. I started with BSc Micro before I became a medical lab scientist. And I think MedLab is taking the glory. I gained admission into the University of Lagos through direct entry. And it was very strict. We were 20. When I entered their lab, there were 20 microscopes. And each time they tried to add an additional person to our class, the HOD would say, I only have 20 microscopes. I had a locker. Inside that locker, everything I needed for my training, microscope, glassware, there was an inventory by the door of that locker. I checked it. If there was a list for 4 conical flags and I saw 3 there, I'll raise an alarm because I paid 20 naira caution fee, which means at the end of the training, if my glassware are intact, I'll get my 20 naira. Mind you, 20 naira can feed me for 2 weeks with my meal ticket then. So I want you to know the value. What am I trying to say? The first lesson I learned as a student of microbiology was microscopy. That microscope, we brought it all down to pieces. Then we assembled it. Now let me tell you my experience. After NYSC, I did internship. There it was for 2 years. I went to Lagos University Teaching Hospital. I'm trying to show you some of the challenges now. I stood beside a hematologist. And when she stood up, I saw that the last slide she read, she wrote moderate lymphocytosis. And I wanted to see it. She came. He said, you want to destroy my microscope? Will you get out of this place? Of course, I was a mature student. And I said, if I cannot handle a microscope, and I graduated from this University of Lagos, and you are driving me like this, that means they should take back my degree. She became scared and looked at me again. He said, hey, you have degree in micro? I said, yes. So she calmed down. Later she said, okay, at the end of the day, you can come and view the slides. What am I trying to say? Even ourselves, we are hostile. And then now, can we boast of a student having a microscope? Without missing words, I was one of the best medical lab scientists in Delta State. But I'm trying to tell you that it's not MedLab that built the skills in me. It was my background in BSc microbiology. Now, I go to School of Health Technology, really. I was conducting practicals twice a week. As soon as I left, they conduct practicals only close to the exam period. Because I was trying to give back what I gained from my training. So, towing the line of what Dr. Henry said, we are the ones causing all these things. From the admission process, even as trainers, are we giving our best to these people and we expect the best? I once employed a graduate and then he used concentrated gypsum to stain a thick blood film, conk gypsum. I wonder what he wanted to see with it. And then the technician in the place was correcting him. They almost fought. The whole thing needs to be overhauled. We are not sincere, we are not honest. When they are coming for accreditation, we cover up all our lapses. The number of students we have to train is overwhelming. I'm sure if that time, when I gained admission to the University of Lagos, and they said only 20 spaces, only 20 for BSc microbiology, you'll be wondering, why will you train only 20 students? But then the training was a special one. You won't believe it, what they wrote for my certificate was BSc microbiology, special honors. I was wondering why the special honors, because of in-depth. They went into, today, if you take me to Greek, I can tell you what is going on there. I know cassava mosaic disease. Koch postulates was done there. I was taken to IIT in Ibadan. So I carried those knowledge into MedLab and made me a special person. But if I had not had that background, I'm sure today people will be looking down at me. It may interest you to know, because of my qualities, I became the state AIDS program coordinator. Medical doctors came for that position and they said, leave this man up. He's well grounded. But when I look back, it was what I got from BSc microbiology, because the institution did it. What am I trying to say? I tried to do it too in the College of Health Sciences. It's unfortunate that Ogatosa is late now. I was always hitting 94%, 97% pass mark. So we have challenges, but the truth is we can rectify them if we are honest with ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please pass it to Mr. Imade. So, challenges. If there are challenges, what do you think? Apart from the one that they have mentioned, what do you think?
Well, for me, I graduated not too long ago, so I think I am quite acquainted with the challenges that I faced at that point in my career or that point in my education. Firstly, despite the fact that we talk about the admission process and everything, I feel like I know that most of the people currently in schools for the course medical laboratory science are people that could not get the cutoff for medicine, either medicine or nursing. They couldn't probably get, or pharmacy, they probably could not get the cutoff, and then the spillover, they said, okay, we have MLS for you, come and take admission letter for MLS. That is basically the truth. I know President, and I was the one doing registrations for most of these students, and I also had to issue out admission letters from the college. Now, when you have people like that do not have interest in the course, or that do not have interest in what medical laboratory science is all about, you find out that you produce scientists that really have an okay attitude towards the profession. That's why we can do conferences and have limited number of young people in the space. Because if we do have young people and young scientists that are really interested in the profession from their undergraduate and from their secondary school days, you will see the energy, you will see the ginger in what they are trying to do. So the recruitment process is one. And then also, the second one I want to talk about is mentorship. Students in the UK, students in the US, by the time they get to SS2, their own SS2 there, their own SS3, they are provided with counselors, career counselors, course counselors. I help them to explore their strengths, help them explore their weaknesses, and then pivot them in the right direction. For me, when I was in SS2, SS3, everybody said I should go and write my work and pass first before I know the course I want to do. I know it's like that for most of us. Some of us, our parents say you must do this. Some said you must do this. My younger brother did not even wait for him to graduate. They said you should go and join police. So you see these kind of things, when you do not consider what that child or what that student's strengths and weaknesses are, there are no way to pivot that child in the right direction. So when you are seeing a child that has interest in things of science, things of medicine, and then you are telling that child to go and join police so you can continue the legacy, it really doesn't, it's not so nice. You may miss out on someone that could pivot new techniques, someone that could bring new things to light in the particular profession that he has chosen. And then I feel like our medical elders in the profession need to, despite the fact that we know that students need to play a majority of the role, I feel like the seniors in the profession also need to build themselves and then make themselves available to these students to serve as mentors. Because I know that most students should have mentors. They would actually do more than what they are doing at this point. Because when you have someone to look up to, you'll be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to model my career the same way this person modeled his or her career. So mentorship is very important. He spoke about hostility and how the hematologist told him to drop the microscope and then get out. Those are some things that we still experience. Even when I was in school and when we did our posting in federal that I faced. So mentorship and then the recruitment process. It would be very nice if you could look into both of these things. Thank you.
Now, they have spoken as scientists. So I want you to speak as a student who is currently in school.
Of course, the training of medical laboratory scientists are vigorous and it's hard work. The problem is two ways or two phases. From us, the students, and from, sorry to say, our lecturers and those who should put us through in this training. For the student aspect, some of us lack interest, or some of us were just subjected to doing med lab, maybe by their parents, or by people who have parents who were medical lab scientists, or who were doctors, or pharmacists, or any of the health course at all. So you see that most of us were just given that road to go and study medical lab, or medicine, or any related course. So coming to school, they have no interest. Some of us do, we don't have any interest. But now, when we do see interest, there is another thing, competition. We are too many. Sometimes we have limited available of resource for us to be trained. So you see that the priority given to us now is more like my doctor said, is more of money making. How much can we get from these students? And they don't even care of how we feel about the training they are giving us. Some schools, of course, is applicable almost in every school, does not have enough equipment for the number of students that they have. Now, we in school, when we are in school, they tell us, forget practical, learn the theory. When you get to the posting, you will learn the practical. Now, when we get to the posting, they will tell you, you should have known this thing in school. Why should I be teaching you what you should have known in school now on practical? Like focusing the microscope is supposed to be a basic thing, which should be taught maybe in 200 or 300 level. But they will tell you, don't worry, learn the they end up telling us all the theories about the microscope without even seeing the microscope. I can basically describe all the parts of microscope, from the eyepiece to the to the pace and everything in it. But most of the students who doesn't have interest to go further to learn may not have seen the microscope and don't even know those parts that they read on book, like this is this is that. They may not have seen it, but they will tell you, okay, when you get to lab posting in hospitals, you will see the microscope, then you can touch it, you use it. Then now when you get to the hospital, you will now see the microscope. To touch it is a problem because your first impression matters a lot. By the time you are given the opportunity to handle the microscope and you handle it wrongly, you remember the country we are in. If you spoil something, it's either you're paying for it or you be scolded harshly that you lose self-esteem or you lose confidence. And when you lose that confidence, you don't want to do it again. You don't want to try again. You don't want to fail. You don't want to learn from your failure. So you see that these students end up being demoralized, and at the end they won't learn what they are ought to do in the posting. You see them hiding away from work, not because they are not interested to learn, but because they are afraid of the failure that they will get and the scolding that will come from it. Because the people that will teach us in the posting expect you to have known the basics in school. Now the lecturers in school expect you to learn it when you go to posting. So please, that gap has been breached, and it's really affecting us. Let those things that we should know in school be taught to us. I think art of learning is actually in 4 ways, if not listening, speaking, visual, and audio. Of course, many of us as students will have different strengths, and these strengths are not capitalized on. For a student to be very good, he have to do with the 4. If you are not actually good in 2, you have to do the 4. You have to write, you have to speak, you have to listen, you have to see. And you end up most times in school, they only do 2, which is writing and hearing. And you see that we don't mostly do the necessary ones that we should do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you see, things are coming out, right? Things are coming out. Okay, so now,
okay, as a follow-up, we look at the university environment. For us in the hospital setting, for those of the students that have passed through our facility, you will recall that our facility is 50% manual, 50% automation when we have students. Recognizing the fact that we don't give the opportunity for students to operate any of our automated system, because you have to learn from the first principle first before you graduate into using the automated system, because those systems are very fragile. Your exams should not be set with automation or AI. Your exams, practical exams, will be set based on the manual you learn on ground in your school. But again, the population of students that come is still a challenge. We have to share them into morning and afternoon class, and we have just 3 microscopes or 2 microscopes in hematology or microbiology. How will you expose 15 or 9 students to view microscope before they finish? It's also a challenge. Like in school, in clinical chemistry, we were only 11 in my class. We were 11 in my class. That year, it was only 1 person in hematology. Then about 13 persons in microbiology. You can understand, and only 1 in histopathology. You can understand that learning and teaching we had interface, was easier. But with the population, it's still a very big challenge we are going in. Now, the other area he looked at basically was when you come in, we know that the issue of scolding and all that, I think it's part of learning. It should not be seen as being debased or demeaned, but it should ginger you to do what you want to. And I'm not standing in or making excuse for that anyways. But primarily, what we are saying is that if you don't have a father, you don't have a feather. And if you don't have a feather, you will not fly high. That is where the issue of mentorship comes in. You may have not had the best choice in life by trying to explore that the professional group that you intend to, you admire. But you can change the scenario in your life by keying into what you are doing and making the best out of it. Making the best out of it means that you have a mentor in the system that will see you through. I cannot approach you and say, let me mentor you. That is what I will approach the person you feel that you want to
want to step after and say, please, I want to be guided in this profession. I want to start exploring that possibility. You find that things will be a little bit easier because you have to discuss every and anything with your mentor, and it makes life much more easier. So believing that when you come into the system, you are supposed to be able to avail us what information you have in school, so that when they are coming into the practical setting, they want to know what is left for them to carry on or what is left for them not to do. But on the baseline, some of you students are not really very ready for this profession, and it's very painful.
Okay, I want to sum it up because we said a lot. First of all, we start from the baseline, our admission process. You find that those that the first generation universities did not admit, they end up in the private sector, and because they are looking for money, there's no need to screen them further. So those of us in the private sector, please, let's be thorough with it. Secondly, I gave example of myself that my admission into BSc microbiology class was based on because UNILAG had 20 microscopes and they admitted 20 of us. Are our colleagues ready to do that? How many microscopes do you have? And how many students are you being trained with those number of microscopes? Another way out is, let us adhere to the quota given by the Medical Lab Science Council of Nigeria. If you are given a quota of 20, please keep to it. Then another thing I'm looking at again, the practical sessions, they eventually turned the course to a theoretical course. As an internee in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, I had 2 days of lectures, 3 days in the hospital laboratories, and we're being rotated. I think fortnightly, every 2 weeks you go around. Now, most, even in parasitology, is theoretical. How many of them? The day I showed a student ascaris, which is used to be very popular, the excitement was all over the lab. And I was wondering, final year, those are technician students. So we find that we've turned the course to a theoretical course and no more a practical one. Also, our accreditation, during accreditation, I don't know, it's dramatic the way they do it. They borrow a lot from institutions. We are not honest. Largely, these are the things I've seen that are plaguing the system. If we try to correct these things, I think we'll bring back the pride of the profession. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everybody. Just one person from the audience that wants to make a contribution, and then we'll round up next. And then we'll just round up the session.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chairperson, the members of the panel. My name is Jackson Njoko. I'm a medical lab scientist, MD Swiss Healthcare. I came late, sorry about that. I'm very glad that in all the discourse, we never mentioned that our problem or any of our problems are from the doctors. And that's the truth. The medical doctors are not our problems. Our problems are within. We hate ourselves. We don't even value the profession. We don't even know what the profession is all about. You only want to be a medical lab scientist, but you don't know that there are much values in being a medical lab scientist. A medical doctor can very well respect you if you know what you're doing and if you have values. But we have this complex, and we are not being properly mentored. The challenges are this. One, have you identified yourself as not just a medical lab scientist, but a scientist that has vision and value. Because if you don't have value, none of these children or the students will come to you. That's just the truth. And again, we don't ignore them, saying that because they have not come to you, you wouldn't mentor them. No. I was moving around, and I work in Nnamdi University Hospital, Nnewi. I saw medical students that are supposed to be doing their posting outside the complex, taking pictures at about 11 a.m. And the medical lab scientists, the chiefs, the directors are inside working, which means they don't even care about their students that came for the posting. That's just the truth. And Dr. Rosa, you should take notes. Where is she? They were just gallivanting. And at the end of the day, they will go back. One, something cost it. Nobody is supervising them. Two, they are losing interest because they have not seen any value. There is no interest because if there is an interest, my brother, my sister, they won't even be told to participate actively. It's unfortunate that there is no council rep here, because I think most of these things we continue to talk about them. How do they transmit this information? How do they do this? Because we find out that we continue to mention microscopes. Some departments, microbiology departments, don't have a very proper microscope in their labs. Why? Because they don't have minimum standard. We have outgrown this. There are some microscopes you will see, you won't be even seeing anything. I'm not a microbiologist and a clinical pathologist, but then we should have this minimum standard. If it is not this, we are not taking, especially teaching hospitals, paramedical centers. You should be the one to tell your management. Your CMD, the doctors shouldn't know. They are not supposed to know the ones you want. You are the ones to tell them, look at, we need this Olympus, look at this neck, look at this, and it's on that. You see, during accreditation, we misuse the opportunities of accreditation. The doctors make very good use of it, even the nurses. During accreditation, that is the opportunity you have to get almost everything. Now, for the medical doctors, during the accreditation, they even get to sign MOU. Show us where people have signed it, that department that they want to accredit, or that specialty. There should be an MOU. Let us know that they have given these people accommodation. Let us know that there is water running in their house officers' quarters. How many of us have an intense lodge in our district? No. But for the we can't be the doctor, we can't be like them. And we shouldn't even want to be like them. We should carry it for ourselves and have our own minimum standard. Every time they will come for accreditation, they will equally use your money, the money of the hospital, to provide things for the doctors. And we'll just be there. Water will not be running in the lab. You will see a medical lab scientist, a chief, telling the student or the intern or whatever to continue working, go and buy girl and go and do the work. How are we setting this space and the standard? You punish the person because he's not working, there are no gloves and all of that. Why didn't you do the work? Stop that work and the glove will come out. Because the management doesn't even know what you are doing. They don't even know that there are no gloves. But when you complain, when you stop the work, the management will know. Some of our heads don't even communicate to the management. You only go to the management to just report to your fellow medical scientist. Instead of you to discuss problems, issues, you are going there to report your colleague. That technical head, that HOD that is going to management, go to his lab. Water is not running. There are no gloves. He's using outdated microscope, and he's comfortable. How are we evolving with the time? Science is evolving. We are not doing all those things. We are just doing eye service. You want to get favor from the medical medical director? You want to get favor from the chief medical director? No, we can't continue that way. We should lead. Yes, we should lead. I'm impressed with what you said. I mean, being impressed. I know all of you there. I'm impressed with your place, your personalities, career, and all of that. But we should equally make sure that these other people are progressing as well. Most of us want to be at the top. We don't want others to grow, to come up. most of these departments, chemical pathology, they just start to create subunits. And let's stop saying glucose bench. This one bench. We have passed that stage. Let's begin to talk about units and work in line with collaborating with doctors in those units. Example, like in Nnamdi University Hospital, we have units now, we've left benches. And what do we do there? We collaborate with the doctors in their units. Now we are now collaborating because they now know that you have value. We have a cardio unit in chemical pathology. Go and ask, Dr. knows. We have metabolic units, no longer glucose and all of that unit. We now bring in all those components that make up that metabolic unit. It makes sense. You read well, you get more other things. And you even ask for, you now have unit heads, sectional heads, not only one technical that wants to be everything and all of that. Share duties. Expand. Create more tests. You find out that some of us, the same hospital, the same test that you have been running for 10 years, is still the same test you are running till now. People are not improving because the heads are not moving forward. They only relax. You see the heads not even attending management meeting, clinical meeting, because they feel they are comfortable, they are good, they have reached their peak and all of that. No. You are the ones that will talk for others. But unfortunately, when you get there, you disappoint us. That's the truth. You see any of us carrying fight to the management, you don't know that what he or she is carrying is your colleague. To go and discuss you there. We can't grow like that. How do we grow? Coming together. Not looking at medical doctors, not looking at physiotherapists and all of that. Mind you, those people are even growing now. Physiotherapists now have their doctorate and all of that. All of them are growing because they came together. They're not even looking at medical science or doctors. They have their clinics. Now, please don't have this bias or whatever that the doctors want you to do this and all of that. When I came on board, we'll round up first. When I came on board, I had medical lab scientists don't enter the ward. You don't do this, you don't do that. That same week, I saw pharmacists entering the ward. What were they doing? They said they were doing drug intervention. Because they know that they have value. They are not restricted to only giving drugs, dispensing. That they should equally add value to their profession. They go around to see whether the drug that has been given to this patient, you understand, is really actually this drug, based on age, based on whatever thing. But we don't do it. I said no. Me, I will enter ward. And there's something very important we should know. I will tell you, it's an expo. This doctor is so hard, they are doing this, they are doing that. It's not when they see some medical scientists. That's just the truth. If you package yourself, you will go places. I entered that ward. I was made unit head of the children's emergency lab. Okay. All my staff, go and ask of me, all my staff, they entered the ward. They were joining the consultants to do one round, and they kept their mouth shut. That we don't do shift. Fine, we do call. But I started it. It's just about how you do your things and your trend. I started it. Now, the men laboratory want to start it. Instead of them to justify starting it, what did they do? They went to the chief medical director, want to start doing shift. Why now? Because Jackson is doing shift in his own district. I mean, we are too myopic. Justify things. We need to grow and we need to stand so strong, so tall to make sure that this our profession don't go down. It's sinking. Just that's the truth. It's sinking, but it is us that will say, no, we are not going to sink. This is another generation. We should try as much as possible to uphold this profession and to make each and every one of us have that desired value we should have as medical lab scientists. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
That was beautiful. Much has been said. We've heard a lot of complaints. We've heard areas where we are falling short, and we hope that the appropriate quarters can hear us. the students, the trainers in the university, the trainers in the hospital environment, the trainers even in the private laboratories in town. I guess we all heard, and we pray all those in our appropriate quarters to make appropriate changes so that we all will grow and move forward. We thank you very much, our senior colleagues on the panelists, made up of our most senior colleague, Dr. Itagene and Dr. Harry Kwamedia. We thank you very much for your input and for our AI medical lab scientists. It's too much. Well done and thank you very much. And for our quarter to go medical lab scientists. Wow, beautiful. We look forward to seeing you in your internship or program anytime soon. So you are excused to receive your seats. Please put your hands together for them. I want to invite the chairman to the stage to give a brief closing remark.
I want to sincerely, on the bottom of my heart, to thank all of you. Even from on Tuesday to date, many of you were there from the beginning, and here we are today. So I want to, on behalf of press, to thank the organizing committees. The scientific committee were awesome. From about 4 months ago now, they were holding meetings almost every day, almost every week. And the organizing committee were always having a talk every 4 days. And it was the time we were about organizing this program. For all those who manage the welfare committee, in fact, I was surprised that we were able to eat rice 2.5 to 4 days. So the welfare committee, thank you for managing the fund and managing the resources that was also available with the association. So the interns and students, we sincerely appreciate you all for making out time to be here. I know very well you must have benefited with. For my senior colleagues, Mr. Aki, Dolosimi, thank you so much. For 3 days you have been here, Dr. Itagene, and all the directors in the AMSI, I want to thank you so much. Dr. Mwachikwe, representing the Director, Medical Laboratory Services, Federal Medical Center, we are sincerely grateful. Send our warm greetings to the Director. So I want to thank all of you for this meeting. This gathering was hosted by our chief host for the gathering was the Honorable Commissioner for Health for unavoidable absence today to close this as it were. We have sent a representative from the Ministry of Health, Dr. Chris, Director Medical Services and Training. So he is here with us. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, distinguished and gentlemen. Like he has just said, my name is Dr. Chris Wibu. I'm the Director of Medical Services. But unfortunately, my commissioner cannot be here, so he has asked me to come and help to close this very, very gathering. I really want to thank all of you, everybody here, both our erudite lecturers, the participants, and everybody, the organizing committee, because I know it's not easy to organize something of this nature. It takes a lot of stress out of you. So I really want to thank you all for being a part of this occasion. And I know very well that our participation in this occasion will have improved our practice, taking our practice to the next level so that we can be more useful to our patients. So once again, on behalf of the Honorable Commissioner for Health, and based on the authorization of the Commissioner for Health, I declare this meeting closed. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Please extend our warm greetings to the Honorable Commissioner. We are sincerely grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's just give this marketer just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Then we'll go back to closing prayer.
Thank you, my chairman. I forgot to introduce this our latest